In downtown Connector, just a few brake lights both directions, 75, 85 north and south. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
It's time now for Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored here at noon by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of summer. Here's WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards with your 5-day forecast.
A mix of sun and clouds today, hot and humid, high 92. An isolated pop-up storm is possible through today, lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high 93. Then a line of heavy rain and thunderstorms moving through North Georgia late tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours. Saturday morning lows settling to the mid-70s. Saturday afternoon, another round of heavy rain and thunderstorms possible, high 90. Sunday drying out as drier air moves in, daytime high 89. Monday morning lows in the mid to upper 60s. Monday afternoon highs in the upper 80s.
As we take a look at WSB Storm Tracker radar, it looks clear right now, no rain. Humidity's at 87% right now, makes it feel warmer than it actually is out there. In Roswell, we have mostly cloudy skies and 80 degrees. Holly Springs, you have more clouds than sun. It's 83 there. And Winder out in Barrow County, you have more clouds and sun and 82 as well. We'll have more news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Hey, friends, the 5K a day bonus blitz keyword is now. N-O-W, now. Enter the keyword now into the WSB Radio app or go to WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 for your chance to win $1,000. The keyword is now. N-O-W. Good luck.
Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. Gosh, I am glad to be with you. I hope you're having a great Thursday. The phone number is 877-973-7425 if you want to be on the program. Tomorrow, I gotta hang up here. I'm going to be with you live tomorrow. I'm no pre-recording, no tricks. However, the last little bit of the program I just found out I'm going to have to pre-record and sneak out because my kid has all of a sudden been given her dorm move-in time, and her mother is going to help her with the bulk of it. But then I got to go get one kid from high school and then get to the college campus to help move the rest of the stuff in. And oh my gosh, I cannot believe I have a kid who is old enough to be moving into a college dorm. And also, I love that because it's August and the way ratings work in radio, I can't take off, so I don't have to do most of the moving in. No, I got to do the heavy lifting, but that's okay. It'll only be a few items towards the end of the day. She and my wife can cry together without me there to be miserable and crying. I want to talk to you about something, and I mentioned it yesterday, and I'm going to acknowledge up front. This is borderline conspiracy. Well, it's not even borderline. This is conspiracy theory on my part. And the more I've thought about it, and it got me thinking, the Iranians hacked into the Trump campaign and released a treasure trove of data related to the Trump campaign. And all of a sudden, the reports say, well, they don't like Biden either. They're trying to do it to Biden. They're trying to do it to Harris. They're trying to do all these things. It's not just Trump, except Trump's the one they hacked and released all the data for. They're saying, they're after the others. But really, here's what I know, and this is not in dispute. Iranian collaborators, agents, and sympathizers infiltrated the Biden administration. This is not a made-up story. It is a real and documented thing. We know that the ties are real, and there have been a whole lot of investigations. Semaphore, of course, broke this story back in September of 2023. In the spring of 2014, senior Iranian foreign ministry officials initiated a quiet effort to bolster Tehran's image and positions on global security issues by building ties with a network of influential overseas academic and researchers. They called it the Iran Experts Initiative. The scope and scale of the Iran Experts Initiative project has emerged in a large cache of Iranian government correspondence and emails reported for the first time by Semaphore and Iran International. The officials working under the then President Hassan Rouhani congratulated themselves on the impact of the initiative. At least two of the people on the foreign ministry's list were or became top aides to Robert Malley, the Biden administration's special envoy on Iran, who was placed on leave this June following the suspension of his security clearance. So let's back up here. In 2014, 10 years ago, Iran started the Iran Experts Initiative to build sympathies in the West, find think tanks and scholars sympathetic to Iran, and build relationships with those people. One of them became Robert Malley, who's been placed on administrative leave by the administration, and now it turns out some are accusing of having given confidential information to Iran. A third was hired by the think tank Malley ran when he left for the State Department. The documents offer deep and unprecedented new insight into the thinking and inner workings of Iran's foreign ministry at a crucial time in its nuclear diplomacy, even as Tehran's portrayals of events is questioned, if not flatly denied, by others involved in the Iran Experts Initiative. They show how Iran was capable of the kind of influence operations in the U.S. and its allies in the region. Emails were obtained and translated by Iran International, a Persian-language television news channel in London, which was briefly based in Washington due to Iranian government threats, and it was shared with Semaphore. The communications reveal the access Rouhani's diplomats have had to Washington and Europe's policy circles, particularly during the final years of the Obama administration through this network. One of the German academics, according to emails, offered to ghostwrite op-eds for officials in Tehran. Others would seek advice from the foreign ministry staff about attending conferences and hearings in the U.S. and Israel. The Iran Experts Initiative participants were prolific writers of op-eds and analyses and provided insights on television and Twitter. The emails described the IEI being initiated following Rouhani's 2013 election, when he was looking to find accommodation with the West on the nuclear issue. These people embedded when Joe Biden got into office, embedded inside the office. The initiative, which we call the Iran Experts Initiative, is consisted of a group of 6 to 10 distinguished second-generation Iranians who have established affiliations with the leading international think tanks and academic institutions, mainly in Europe and the United States. Saeed Khatibzadeh, a Berlin-based Iranian diplomat and future foreign ministry spokesman, wrote in 2014. Khatibzadeh wrote again a week later and said he had gained support for the IEI from two young academics, Aryan Tabatabai and Dina Esfandari, following a meeting with them in Prague. Tabatabai currently serves in the Pentagon as the Chief of Staff for the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Special Operations, a position that requires government security clearance. She had served as a diplomat on Malley's Iran nuclear negotiating team. Now, so we know Iranian sympathizers embedded within the Biden administration. There are all sorts of questions about Robert Malley. There are hints that he may have, the FBI is probing into whether or not he committed crimes. This is from May of this year. The FBI is investigating whether the Biden administration's Iran envoy, Robert Malley, moved classified information onto his personal email where it may have fallen into the hands of a foreign actor, Iran. Malley has denied wrongdoing and denied comment. His security clearance was suspended. Again, I realize I'm going down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole here, but hear me out. For 2 weeks, it has been obvious Iran was going to retaliate against Israel. In fact, the United States was so concerned, based on its intelligence, that it expedited the deployment of an aircraft carrier group and an attack submarine to the eastern Mediterranean to be prepared to assist Israel when the attack comes. Israeli and American intelligence leaked to the international press satellite photos of Iran moving missiles into position, and that Hezbollah was moving weapons stockpiles closer to its border with Israel. What if Iran isn't attacking because of what it would do to the Democratic National Convention next week? Iran was unable to embed sympathizers, agents, and spies into the Trump administration that we know of. They've all been in the Obama administration, and they've all been in the Biden administration. Every single one of you listening right now, Democrat, Republican, Independent, you know the Democrats are worried about riots in Chicago next week from the far left. And you know what gets the far left most agitated is when Israel throws a punch. If Iran and Hezbollah attack Israel, you know the punches are going to start flying. There will be chaos in the streets of Chicago. As I am talking to you at this very moment, who knows? Missiles could be lifting off from Tehran. I don't know. If that's the case, I'm wrong. But isn't it wild that for 2 weeks all the signals have been pointing to an Iranian response, and suddenly the guessing is, are they even going to do it? What if they're standing down so they don't interfere with Kamala Harris and cause chaos in the streets of Chicago? Listen, these are the people who hacked Donald Trump's campaign. These are the people who've embedded sympathizers and agents inside the Biden administration. Iran clearly has a vested interest in stopping the man who killed Qasem Soleimani from getting in office. So what if, intentionally or not, on direct communication or not, Iran is smart enough to read the tea leaves? Look, Benjamin Netanyahu is smart enough to read the tea leaves. Benjamin Netanyahu, 3 weeks ago, met with Kamala Harris and then went home and started a ruthless extermination campaign of all of Israel's enemies. He clearly got the signal that Kamala Harris might win and she'd be bad for Israel. So he went home and started killing everybody he could. It's not hard for Iran to interpret the same signals that Kamala Harris has a good chance of winning, and that would be good for us. Let's not rock the boat till after the convention. Avoid the riots. Iran fundamentally has a dog in the fight. Fundamentally, Iran opposes Donald Trump. Iran plotted an assassination attempt against Donald Trump. They want to stop Donald Trump. They've hacked Donald Trump's campaign. They've tried to release damaging information to the press, which will be the October surprise. They're making a big deal about not leaking it out now. They'll wait until October and do it. But what if Iran is pulling its punches to help Kamala Harris right now? Nobody wants to talk about it, of course. It sounds conspiratorial. But when you realize that they've hacked Trump, not Biden or Harris, when you realize they've embedded sympathizers and agents with Harris and Biden, when you realize that Kamala Harris's top advisor on those issues is compromised and less than objective when it comes to issues of Iran, it sure seems like the Iranians are picking a side, and the attack might not come. Now, here's the thing. We'll know I'm right or wrong if an attack comes before the Democratic National Convention or at the beginning of it, then I'm wrong. And by the way, I'm happy to be wrong on this. I'm happy to be wrong in thinking that our enemy has a vested interest in Kamala Harris getting elected. But if nothing happens until after the Democratic National Convention to forestall and stop the riots, I was right. And you'll know I'm right. And the Democrats will scream to high heaven that it's not true. You can't tie the two together, and you'll all know I was right. And that'll be a damning sign that the Iranians needed to wait to not disrupt the Democratic National Convention. And by the way, we also know the Iranians are paying these people internally. The CIA and the national security apparatus has now acknowledged Iran's payments to these groups inside this country. If they're doing restraint over there and they're restraining them here, it's all designed to avoid chaos in Chicago so Kamala Harris can get that nomination without the story being about the riots. We will see how this thing plays out over the next 2 weeks. All of our intelligence and all of Israel's intelligence has indicated the fight is coming. So much so, we rushed a carrier group and a submarine to get there as fast as possible, and that fight hasn't come. What is Iran waiting for? I hope it's not the Democratic National Convention. If the attack comes before then, we'll know for sure they're not thinking that way, and thank God for that. But if the attack comes after, it's going to be pretty obvious. They pulled their punches until after the DNC because they didn't want to give Kamala Harris bad press.
Want to be on the show?
Hello? I love your show.
Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
1220 in the Coolway Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Police are checking for some new trouble. Georgia 400 southbound as you approach 285, causing brake lights through Sandy Springs. Moving elsewhere, you are dealing with delays because of construction over on the East Freeway. I-20 eastbound, right around Panola Road, exit 71. It knocks out a left lane. And over on the south side, just a few brake lights. 75 south and northbound as you make your way between Highway 138 and also 2081. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
Hey, friends, the 5K a day bonus blitz keyword is now. N-O-W, now. Enter the keyword now into the WSB Radio app or go to WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 for your chance to win $1,000. The keyword is now. N-O-W. Good luck.
Dave Baker here for Air Quality Systems. Having your air ducts cleaned is great. It helps keep your home cleaner and has health benefits. But you need to be careful who you choose to clean your ducts. I received an email from a listener who told me she was quoted $499 for a duct cleaning, but she was charged over $1,400 with add-ons. That's just wrong. At Air Quality Systems, you get upfront pricing. The price you're quoted over the phone is the price you pay. Simply go to airqualitysystems.com and set your appointment today.
At Ameris Bank, we're invested in the success of your business. Our local bankers are ready to help you improve your cash flow, optimize your operating accounts, and access financing when you need it. From treasury services and digital banking to loans and lines of credit, we offer tailored solutions to help your business thrive. At Ameris Bank, we're with you. Visit amerisbank.com/withyourbusiness or walk into one of our branches today to get started. Ameris Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
I've been forecasting sunshine for you for 40 years. Hi, it's meteorologist Glenn Burns, and now I'm excited with the sunshine inside my home. It's bigger and brighter thanks to my Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows from North Georgia Replacement Windows. They're not big and bulky like vinyl composite windows. Fiberglass is stronger with narrower frames that brighten your home with more daylight and bigger views.
Infinity from Marvin Replacement Windows, yeah!
All my life I wore contacts with no problems, and a few years ago my reading gave out and I started having to wear reading glasses. After a while I got frustrated and I went to see Dr. Ashraf regarding my options. Instead of LASIK, I opted for laser optics procedure. Believe me, this is amazing. Most of my day I do not use any glasses, even for reading. As an added bonus, my insurance covered most of the cost.
Hi, this is Dr. Ashraf of the Atlanta Vision Institute. I'm proud to be one of the first physicians to offer the laser optics procedure. This procedure uses LASIK technology to improve your distance vision, but also helps to restore your reading vision. As a matter of fact, most of my patients are able to read a menu or see their phones without the need for reading glasses. So if you can relate to Bill's frustrations, come see me and see if you're a candidate for the laser optics procedure.
If you would like to learn more about the procedure and find out if you're covered by insurance, visit Atlanta2020.com. That's Atlanta2020.com.
Would you let a person with a doctorate in sociology operate on your liver? Of course you wouldn't. It's Eric here for ESOG. Be wary of foundation repair companies that tell you they're licensed because only Engineered Solutions of Georgia has a team of licensed engineers on staff. The other guys, they got business licenses, not engineering licenses. Quality matters. If you see cracks in your wall, call 678-ESOG now. Receive a free home inspection. 678-ESOG now.
Dial 678-ESOG now.
Men, if you're suffering from ED or PE, Priority Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You can be live on Eric's show by calling 877-97-ERIC. That's 877-973-7425.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. Yes, you can be on the show. Happy to have you with me. 877-973-7425. Need a word with you real quick. You hear a promo on occasion, our army of activists, and we're changing things up. I'm moving to a more efficient site. You guys over time have said you want solutions. You don't just want to complain about stuff. And so if you text the word Army to 33777, you get a link back and fill out your information, and you're subscribed. So if there's an action item like, I need you to call Congress or call a state legislature in your area. The problem is the site we use got bought. It wound up being less robust and more expensive, and so I had to move everything. But in order to move everything, everybody's got to update their information, because we got to make sure we know what state you're in, because I don't want to send those of you in California, for example, an action alert for people in Virginia and vice versa. So if you text the word Army to 33777, you'll get a link to the new portal, and you can put in your name and your zip code, your cell phone if you want to. You don't have to, and that'll be able to allow us to send you emails or text messages as needed, depending on your preference, to get you in. So then what happens is, like, let's say, for example, Congress in the budget fight over raising the debt ceiling and stuff. We'll make it real easy for you to click a link and connect you to your member of Congress on your cell phone, so you can call them and say, don't you raise the debt ceiling. We try to make it as interactive as possible for you, but you got to text the word Army to 33777. Emails are going to be going out to people on the list, and messages this afternoon asking people to update their information so everybody can be as engaged and effective as possible, because I want you to be able to have solutions, not just complain. Now, I got to tell you all a quick story. My son goes to, now that my oldest has graduated, my son goes to a small classical Christian school. They refer to it as a kingdom school, a kingdom school. We're there for the kingdom of God. They got into their computer class yesterday, and every kid was given an auto-generated password. And they had to hand the password over to the teacher to keep in case they lost it. My son's password, he said, began FUKU and a series of numbers. He got it. And he wrote it on a piece of paper, and he says, I can't hand this to you. He says this to the teacher. He says, I can't hand this to you. We're a kingdom school. So I got to get a new, well, he can't get a new password. He's stuck with the near bad word as part of his password. He's very horrified. Can't tell anybody his password. All right, let me tell you about Old Glory Bank. Old Glory Bank is my bank. They are an online bank, but unlike every other online bank, with Old Glory Bank, you can still deposit cash to the bank. You can do checks through their mobile app. They got a great app, by the way. But also, they generate a QR code with mobile app. You take it to one of 88,000 retail locations. Hand them your cash. It goes into your account. I've used it a bunch of times, and it just works. I have direct deposit in mine. Everything works. Old Glory Bank, you can get no-fee checking, no-fee savings. You can get mortgages, loans, whatever you need. They're a real bank, and they won't cancel you because they're by conservatives for conservatives. So if you're a gun store and you need a bank and you're worried about your bank shutting you down because of the left, Old Glory Bank, you never have that problem. They're great to do business with. OldGloryBank.com, OldGloryBank.com. You can get an account for you or your kid or your business in less than like 5-6 minutes. I mean, it does not take long to fill out the form and get your account going. OldGloryBank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply, and yes, it really is my bank.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. A Ponzi scheme in Alpharetta is busted. The owner of Alpharetta-based investment company Drive Planning is accused of stealing more than $300 million from thousands of customers. Federal investigators say that Todd Burkhalter used the money to afford an extravagant lifestyle, including a multi-million-dollar yacht and a North Georgia ranch. Burkhalter is also an author and once ran for Johns Creek City Council. Partly cloudy today with a high around 92, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She says there's a chance of some pop-up showers and storms later on. Stay with us. We, of course, will let you know if there are any warnings or watches that happen to pop up. This is new this half hour. A former City of Atlanta employee convicted of federal bribery charges will not be getting a new trial. Mitzi Bickers' request is denied by a federal appeals court. Bickers was found guilty of accepting bribes in exchange for steering nearly $20 million in city contracts to local businessmen. She headed the Office of Human Services for over 3 years during the administration of Mayor Kasim Reed. There's been an arrest related to the death of Friends actor Matthew Perry. We get more now from reporter Karen Adams.
We know that at least one person, a doctor, has been arrested in this death investigation. Warrants were issued this morning for more. The Friends star was found dead in his hot tub last October. The medical examiner determined he died from the acute effects of ketamine.
And a news conference about Perry's death scheduled for next hour. We, of course, will be monitoring that for you. As we take a look at the markets, a good day on Wall Street. The Dow's up more than 1%, Nasdaq's up more than 2%, and the S&P's up more than 1.5%. It's 12:32.
Hello, this is Brant Frost, founder and president of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, First Liberty has helped hundreds of small businesses grow by saying yes when the big banks say no. On Wall Street, opportunities to earn big returns are everywhere, but for Main Street investors, those opportunities are often hard to find. Until now. Our First Liberty notes are now open to qualified Main Street investors paying interest rates of 8 to 13% while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here in Georgia. With a few basic qualifications and with as little as $25,000, qualified Main Street investors just like you can earn an 8 to 13% interest rate. If this is you, we'd love to hear from you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and consider joining our First Liberty family today. That's FirstLibertyGA.com, FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
The end of summer doesn't have to be the end of your fun. Your backyard can be your family's happy place all year long in a Bullfrog hot tub from Brown's Pools and Spas. Only Bullfrog offers the Jetpack therapy system, allowing you to customize each seat to fit every body in your family. Shop our huge Labor Day sale with instant rebates up to $2,500 and special financing for 60 months. Hurry, offer ends September 3rd. Brown's Pools and Spas, celebrating 50 years of BrownsPools.com.
Ah, the sounds of summer. Time to show the neighborhood that you mean business. You're a proud homeowner and want your lawn to look its best. So, make your neighbors jealous with a tough-as-nails Ariens or Gravely zero-turn mower. Find yours today at Campbell's Lawn Equipment, South Metro Atlanta's premier dealer of quality lawn and garden equipment. Campbell's Lawn Equipment is the only place to shop for your lawn needs. All mowing equipment comes assembled and tested by one of their highly trained service technicians, and you'll be shown how to operate and maintain your purchase. Most importantly, Campbell's will repair and service every product they sell. Opened in 1974 and still family-owned and operated today, with 2 locations in McDonough and Forest Park, conveniently located right off I-75. Open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go ahead, climb aboard an Ariens or Gravely mower, built to mow the distance. Visit CampbellsEquipment.com or stop in a store. CampbellsEquipment.com.
All right, live team coverage of traffic and weather. Veronica Harrell with a look at the roads.
And right now, police are on the scene of an injury crash. Georgia 400 southbound as you approach 285. It knocks out the left lane. A few brake lights in and out of Kennesaw and Marietta, 75 north and southbound. And that construction over in Gwinnett County, 316 eastbound at Riverside Parkway has since cleared. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly cloudy today with an isolated pop-up storm possible, high 92. Lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy through the afternoon, high 93, but a round of heavy rain and thunderstorms possible late in the afternoon through the evening hours. Saturday, another round of thunderstorms possible, high 90.
All right, we'll have more news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, even when it isn't popular. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I am happy to have you. I gotta just comment real quick here. Funny thing happened yesterday. I did noted a story that shows that families that laugh and parents who have senses of humor, their kids tend to be more optimistic and happier and less prone to despair and depression, and oftentimes use humor to get themselves through bad situations. And that is absolutely the truth in my family. We have a dark sense of humor, and we all laugh about the stories that say people with dark senses of humor have higher rates of dementia when they grow old. Okay. Well, we'll forget all the punchlines and tell the jokes all over again, so they'll be doubly funny if that's the case. But nonetheless, people have started emailing me their favorite jokes, and I appreciate them. Many of them I have heard before. Y'all don't understand my sense of humor. You don't. I have a very bad sense of humor. My buddy Braden says at some point I need to just get one of those comedy clubs rented out for like my 50th birthday and take everybody's cell phone so nobody can record it and just stand on stage and tell people all of the stories that I tell friends off air that are not allowed to be told on air. And that would be a comedy show in and of itself. Yes, maybe one day I'll do that. Nonetheless, you don't have to send me your jokes. I promise you I've heard your joke before that you're sending me. But thank you for thinking of me. Very much appreciate it. But you don't have to if you don't want to. Now, we got to move on to price controls. Donald Trump has hit on a good line. And by the way, I want you to know, I wanted to try to go an entire show and not even talk about the presidential race. I'm kind of tired of talking about it, and yet here we are. I got to talk about some of it because it is news. And at the top of the next hour, those of you who are getting a little bit discouraged, you need to stick around. Let me see if I can encourage you somewhat, because there is a lot of news out there that is getting glossed over by media that, of course, wants Harris to win. That's actually good for Trump, and I want to explain that to you. If you got friends falling into despair, tell them turn on the radio. In 30 minutes, I'll get to it. Right now, however, I want to start with this. This is Donald Trump in Asheville, North Carolina, yesterday.
Kamala has declared that tackling inflation will be a day one priority. Just think of it, for her, but day one for Kamala was 3.5 years ago. Why hasn't she done it?
Why hasn't she done it? He's standing before a background that says no taxes on tips, no taxes on Social Security. Kamala Harris now, of course, wants to embrace no taxes on tips. Jared Bernstein is the White House economic advisor who tried to defend the inflationary report yesterday. Let me explain this. Let him explain this one to you in his vantage point.
The White House at this point think that the inflation problem is solved?
The momentum is certainly in the right direction. Inflation is reliably coming down.
Inflation is reliably coming down. You've got people yelling that things are headed in the right direction. Inflation is down. And then Bernstein went on this tirade about gas prices.
One other thing he also just said was
my policies are working, there's going to be a soft landing, start writing that way. Do you know if he feels that the economic coverage has generally been off or wrong?
Well, what do you think he meant by start writing that way?
I'm not thinking.
I mean, that's the first I've heard that he said that. I can only interpret it, to mean that he thinks that that's not being done.
Do you think that?
Do I think what specifically?
That coverage about the economy has generally been off?
I don't know one way or the other. I read a lot of your work and I see stuff I like and stuff that doesn't resonate with me as much. There's been some nice research on this over at the Brookings Institute. My former colleague Ben Harris and others have looked at the extent to which reporting has been increasingly negative on the economy. And they find, and they're crunching some real numbers, that that's been the case. There was another study that I found pretty well, looked to me that was pretty rigorous, that suggested that the media tends to write about the gas price when it goes north of $3.50 and not when it goes south of $3.50. So the gas price, as I looked this morning, was I think $3.45. And if you haven't written about it, maybe you want to.
Really? You want them to write about gas prices at $3.45 a gallon and point out they're $1 higher than when Donald Trump was last president. Okay, I encourage that. Kamala Harris, of course, wants to take on price gouging. Notice how price gouging was not a thing until inflation hit. And the Democrats have tried to distract from it ever since by saying it's not inflation, it's companies shrinkflation. They're shrinking the size of your Snickers bar. That was actually a claim that Joe Biden actually made, and it wasn't true, that the Snicker bar, candy bar, has gotten smaller. It's not actually true. And, of course, she wants price controls, which is what Nicolas Maduro has used to starve the people of Venezuela. It's what the Soviets used to cause bread lines. It's what the Cubans have used to cause economic calamity there. Price controls don't work. You don't have to believe me. Here's a great story for you out of Argentina. President Milei down there. President Milei has gotten rid of rent control. Massive housing shortages in Argentina. And President Javier Milei has gotten rid of price controls for houses. And suddenly there's not only a housing supply, but there's actually been a drop in rental prices. Yeah, this is one of the things that the price control people say, is that if you get rid of price controls, rent prices will skyrocket because those greedy corporations and landlords are going to skyrocket the prices if you get rid of price controls. Actually, rental prices have fallen in Argentina and housing supply has come open. Why? Because the landlords keep the prices as high as possible, knowing the government won't let them adjust them. And they lock people out of housing, and they don't make housing available because they don't want to get stuck. And now that that's all gone away, they're making housing available for rent that wasn't previously available for rent, because they know if they change their mind, they can get out of it. And because of the overabundance now of places to rent, the actual rental prices have gone down. It's Economics 101, something that Kamala Harris doesn't understand. It's happening in Argentina, not this country. In this country, the Democratic presidential candidate intends to run on price controls and price gouging and forcing companies to not jack up prices. That is ultimately price controls. What's so notable is the left says, this isn't price controls, this isn't price, it's just against gouging. Now, does gouging happen? Allegedly gouging happens. I'll tell you one of the rules that I despise. I live in the South. We have this natural disaster on occasion called a hurricane that rolls through. When hurricanes roll through, governments order gas stations to freeze their gas prices. The result is gas stations run out of gas. And some gas stations jack up their prices in advance, and they get sued for price gouging. In the free market, a business should be allowed to jack up the price. And if they're taking advantage of crisis, they're taking advantage of crisis. And you can choose not to shop at that gas station. You can choose to tell everyone what that gas station owner did and drive him out of business. But the state should not be allowed to tell the owner of the gas station you can't jack up your gas prices. I personally find that wrong. But it happens. And the reason it happens is because there are always gas station owners who hear the hurricane is coming and they skyrocket their gas price, knowing that if people have to flee and they're going to need gas and they come to him, he's going to make more money. The left calls this price gouging. I call this how the market works. How does the market also work? People get mad at that guy for taking advantage of him, and they stop shopping there and put him out of business. It's how the market works. The creative destruction of the marketplace. Kamala Harris, however, isn't really talking about those crises. She's trying to claim that inflation is actually price gouging. It's not the government that did this. She, of course, was the tie-breaking vote on the stimulus plan that caused inflation. It was a 50-50 vote, and she had to cast the tie-breaking vote in the Senate to get it done. She doesn't want to own up to it, so she's trying to blame businesses. Here's the problem, though, and it's also the way that these businesses discuss inflation generally. They say inflation has gone down. Inflation, the rate of inflation is still going up, just not up as fast. If you listen to the news coverage on MSNBC, CNBC, CNN, and the like, you would think that prices are going down. Prices aren't going down. They're just not going up as high. So if I'm 200 pounds and I gain 10 pounds and then I gain 5 pounds, it's not that I'm not losing weight anymore. It's that I'm slowed down how much weight I'm gaining. I had gained 10 pounds and then 5 pounds, so I'm up to 215 from 200. That's an increase. But the way the media would be reporting it right now, if it was inflation, was to say, oh, you've been losing weight. You had gained 10 pounds. Now you've only gained 5 pounds. You've lost weight. That's the way the media is reporting inflation. Inflation is up over 30% since Kamala Harris became vice president of the United States. It's still going up. Inflation is still going up. It's just not going up as fast. I played a little bit of this yesterday. This is an extended clip of J.D. Vance in Michigan talking about inflation.
Sir. New York Times, I wanted to ask you about the latest economic news from this morning with inflation now being under 3%, the lowest rate since mid-2021. What is your sort of reaction to that news?
Well, I think the crowd reaction says it all. Look, when they say that inflation is down, they mean from a baseline where groceries are already 30% more expensive than they were when Donald Trump was president. And they're not saying it's coming down. They're just saying it's not going up as fast as it was 3 years ago. That is not a reputation or a record to brag on. That's a record to be ashamed of. Why did it take them so long to get inflation to where it is, and why are prices so high? It's because Kamala Harris failed to do her job. So if they want to go around, and this is, it's funny. Kamala Harris, on the one hand, will say, on day one, we're going to tackle the affordability crisis. And like I said earlier, Kamala Harris has been the vice president for 3.5 years. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, she's in effect been the acting president, because we all know Joe Biden isn't home. So she's been the one controlling government policy for 3.5 years. She says she wants to tackle the affordability crisis on day one. And then on the other hand, she'll say, oh, we've already got inflation under control. Well, which is it, Kamala? Which is it? The simple truth is America's credit card debt is getting higher. Americans are finding the basic necessities of middle-class life less affordable. Americans are becoming, especially young people, are becoming paupers in their own country. If we don't do better, our young generation, they're not going to own anything. They're not going to have anything. They're going to be renters in the country that their parents and grandparents built. Inflation is a disaster. Kamala Harris does not have a leg to stand on.
He's not wrong. But yes, the way the media treats it is, oh, inflation's down, the economy's recovered. No, grocery prices have not come back down to where they were. Neither have gas prices. And yet to the left, they consider this some sort of success that Kamala Harris can talk about. And because she's got to distract from her tie-breaking vote, she's decided to claim that she's going to go after price gouging. Price gouging. You know what happens when you attack price gougers? All the prices go up to a level, because if all the prices go up, you can say, well, I'm not gouging. I'm doing what everybody else is doing. It's not gouging if we're all doing it. So then the government passes new laws on collusion. And so then they just get on Twitter and say, I think I got to do X, Y, and Z, and these other companies are probably going to have to as well. And so then they openly talk about it. So again, it becomes not actually a collusion. It doesn't become anything like that. There are always ways around it, and those ways wind up always benefiting the corporation. If you go the opposite direction, what Milei did in South America and Argentina is he got rid of rent price controls, and it brought down the price of rents and made housing more affordable and opened more houses to be rented as landlords decided they could do this and not get stuck by the government. And it's been a win-win in Argentina. It is amazing to me that Milei is smarter than all the politicians in this country when it comes to actually dealing with the economy. Now, if you read Imprimis from Hillsdale College, they've got a lot there in Imprimis that it's just eye-opening. It's thought-provoking. It's always good, and you can get Imprimis if you go to ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. Not only that, you can also help them with their classical education around the country. They're doing an education program for K through 12 education for private schools, public schools, charter schools, homeschools available. Some states are picking up, like Arizona, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Florida. It's an available form of curriculum. It's a great curriculum. Classical education teaches kids critical thinking skills, how to think, not be indoctrinated, but it's donor supported, as is Hillsdale College, because Hillsdale doesn't take any federal money. It is the sort of college conservatives should be proud of. It doesn't take any federal money, but it relies on generous donations. They're tax deductible. You go to ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. Start a relationship with Hillsdale College today, and also get Imprimis for free. It's so worth it.
He's got the courage to tell you the actual truth, even when it isn't popular. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
1250 in the Coolway Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Crash has moved off to the right, 400 southbound as you approach 285. It was an injury crash, or is an injury crash, but now off to the right. Still some brake lights as you travel through Sandy Springs. Elsewhere downtown, you're dealing with brake lights both directions, 75, 85 north and south. That's just volume. And then it is a slow ride on the East Freeway because of construction over in the left lane. I-20 eastbound east of Panola Road, exit 71. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
It's 3 o'clock. Want another Zoom call?
I know for a fact.
Or Eric Von Hessler.
This is what's going on.
Now you can start listening to the Von Hessler Doctrine at work.
Board eligible to become a certified pundit.
And continue on your drive home.
But not quite a certified pundit yet.
EVH, today.
Now starting at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I'm with Chris Hoffman, host of Money Unleashed here on WSB. The 401k is the primary savings tool for many of us. Do you know what's in it? Would you like to know more? Chris Hoffman is offering you a chance to get your very own 401k x-ray.
We can do a complete study for you. You don't have to sit here and have us do it in front of you. We'll take the hours it takes for us to research everything, populate everything, run these reports for you, and we give you the reports, about a 10, 14-page report. It basically shows you how your portfolio has behaved over the past year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. It also shows you the risk profile of that mix of asset classes that you have in there. It'll show you how much money you've got in bonds versus stocks versus alternative versus cash. It'll also give you a scatter plot diagram, which basically tells you what positions are highly volatile or are underperforming your overall portfolio mix. So really in-depth report, great study. Everybody seems to find value in it. So let us do that for you before you even come in for your first appointment. We'd have that and we'll give it to you. It's a great way to start, and it gives you information on your current portfolio. And there's usually 2 or 3 really nice golden nuggets in there of things that you can affect change on. I would take this opportunity to call us or go online and order your personalized portfolio x-ray.
Get the most out of your 401k by calling right now, 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858. And ask for your personalized 401k x-ray. Do it today.
Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group, Incorporated. Georgia Insurance License Number 163546.
Hey, y'all, it's Eric. Are you in the market for a 2024 Sierra light duty pickup? Well, there are lots of them at Jim Hardman Buick GMC, the oldest Buick GMC dealership in Georgia, family owned for over 40 years. Right now, you can save up to $11,000 on their new 2024 GMC Sierra light-duty crew cab pickups using trade assistance. And they got all the packages, 5.3 V8, SLT, Denali, Elevation, a great selection. They've got over 350 new vehicles available and arriving daily. You don't have to worry about stock. They've got it at Jim Hardman Buick GMC up in Gainesville on Browns Bridge Road. Go to hardmancars.com to check them out. And I got to tell you, as a customer of Jim Hardman Buick GMC, their service department, hands down the best. You're going to feel comfortable. It's why they've been around for over 40 years. Repeat family customers because they treat you like family. Jim Hardman Buick GMC in Gainesville, hardmancars.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Want Eric's weekly recipes? They're super delicious. Text recipe to 33777 now.
This hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. You're buying a building, you're building a building, you're buying a franchise, you need a heavy equipment loan. Well, First Liberty makes its own decisions, and they're not going to change up your lender every 6 months. It's the same Frost family that's been there since the 90s. If you want a relationship with a great company that is committed to helping businesses grow, reach out to them, firstlibertyga.com. Any business nationwide, they'd love to help you, firstlibertyga.com. Now, I want to go to the phones here. Andrew, you're going to be up first. Welcome. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing today?
Great. What's going on?
Nothing much. I just want to make a comment. You were discussing price gouging, price controls as far as petroleum was concerned during hurricanes. And I just remember back when I studied basic econ at university, you read Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith, and one of the things he discusses in the book is his argument against price controls was that what it does is that it creates an effective allocation of supplies. If you let the vendor charge as much as he wants, let's say $15 a gallon for gas during a hurricane, it means the next guy who comes along can't show up with a 500-gallon tank on a trailer and buy a bunch of gasoline. Instead, it just means, though it's at a very high price, it's going to be available for everybody. So that's an important reason why you should let them charge a high price for it during time of crisis.
Look, that's so well said, and it makes a ton of sense. It's an efficient allocation of resources. That's what the free market does, and there's nothing actually wrong with it. You may not like it at the time, but it allows you to have available gas, even though it's a high price. As Andrew just said, the next guy's not going to be able to come along with a massive tank and fill it up when gas prices are that high, which is going to leave available gas for you in the tank to be able to get where you need in crisis. Price gouging is a socialist theory more often than not that is used against companies that are having to set prices based on the economic policies of a government that is out to ruin business. The price gouging laws and price stability laws and fixed price laws of countries that are socialist and communist are overwhelming and chaotic, and they're bad. They cause food shortages. They cause rationing. This is not hypothetical. We know this across. I mean, really, we know this from the real world. We know this from the Soviet Union. We know this from the Eastern Bloc nations. We know this from Venezuela. We know this from Cuba. We know this from North Korea. We know this even from China. So it's a bad idea. We also know this from states that have hurricanes where they impose their price gouging laws and suddenly every gas station is out of gas. That's just the way it works. Now, I want to switch gears. When we come back, a lot of you are despairing over the Trump campaign situation right now. There's actually data out there the media is not covering that actually shows things aren't that bad for Donald Trump right now. Is there room for improvement? Yes. Is the momentum with Kamala Harris? Yes. Will the momentum stay with Kamala Harris? Probably not. The more she opens her mouth, which is why they're keeping her mouth shut. I want to dive into that for you, some encouragement for those of you beginning to despair. There's still over 80 days to go, people, so calm down. Just listen to me. Tell your friends. Tune in. I'll be right back.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by HipNation. Alpharetta business owner allegedly buys a multi-million-dollar yacht and a condo, all while running a massive Ponzi scheme.
The Securities and Exchange Commission says Todd Burkhalter bilked more than 2,000 investors out of $300 million while serving as CEO of financial firm Drive Planning.
Obviously, there's a lot of victims in the Atlanta, Georgia area, some of which have already contacted us to represent them. But it's very, very widespread.
Attorney Jeff Son says Burkhalter promised massive returns on investments. Burkhalter allegedly used the money for a series of personal expenses, including millions on private jets and luxury car services. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
All right, thank you, Austin. Your weather for this afternoon, partly cloudy, hot, humid, and isolated pop-up shower storms possible with a high around 92, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just over 2 minutes. There are new developments in the investigation of the overdose death of actor Matthew Perry. Correspondent Jim Krasula has more.
There's word at least one person has been arrested in connection with the ketamine overdose death last year of Friends actor Matthew Perry. Some reports say several people face charges, including at least one doctor. The 54-year-old was found unresponsive in the swimming pool at his Southern California home last October.
And a news briefing getting underway this hour where we hope to learn more. We'll bring you that as soon as we get it. President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris will be in Maryland this afternoon to unveil a new plan that cuts prescription drug costs. The agreement negotiated with Medicare is expected to save seniors millions of dollars. 10 popular drugs are affected by this, including cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and blood clot medications. CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman says this could be used by the Harris presidential campaign.
This is certainly something that she can use. She can say that she'll build on this in her administration to continue to lower those prescription drug prices, lower those prices overall for American consumers. This is certainly something that she can continue to talk about on the campaign trail.
And this event is the first time that Biden and Harris are making a joint appearance since Harris became the Democratic presidential nominee. And also, we have learned today that the two vice presidential candidates have now agreed to debate. That'll happen October 1st on CBS. And a new study today in the journal Aging shows that there are two key times to take note as we get older. Stanford University researchers say our bodies undergo rapid changes in our mid-40s and then again around 60. So doctors are hoping that research will help them explain why age-related illnesses and certain diseases commonly pop up around those times and how to protect against them. As we take a look at the markets, the Dow currently up 470 at 40,479. So the Dow's up more than 1%, Nasdaq's up more than 2%, and the S&P's up more than 1% here at 103.
At City of Hope, we are driven to stop lung cancer, to respond to its every change, its every mutation with a new treatment approach, to meet the most complex cases with the latest innovations, to analyze cancer down to its DNA, then fight it with the newest surgical, radiation, and immunotherapies, to never give up, so you can be driven by hope. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
Selling your home can be challenging with Showings Costly Home Repairs with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. It doesn't have to be. It's Eric. The guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate is the easiest way to sell your home. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. With over 58,000 satisfied clients, you can trust the top real estate team in the whole country to sell your home quickly and for the most money. Go to markspain.com. Get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and get packing.
Belinda Skelton here with another powerful testimonial from a patient who visited virtual imaging and had a life-saving experience. Mike, I want to hear your story.
I did a head scan, and I was diagnosed with a 7-millimeter brain aneurysm, which means I'm at high risk for a stroke. I'm physically fit. I get a physical every year. This experience taught me that regardless of your fitness level, we're all vulnerable to heart disease, cancer, and stroke. It also taught me a first-hand lesson about the benefits of early detection, because without virtual imaging, I wouldn't have known about my brain aneurysm until the day I had a stroke.
Virtual imaging has a CT scan to screen your heart, lungs, and can detect early-stage cancer, and now they have brain scans. Call today and receive a free heart scan for you and your plus one. Yes, free with minimum requirements. Call 678-369-0202 or visit virtualimagingatl.com.
That musty smell in your house may be a sign of water in your crawl space. Christina Epworth here. Call American Crawl Space Solutions to make the smell and the water go away.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
Get pre-approved on your next auto loan or refinance your current auto loan at Coosa Valley Credit Union today. You'll get one of the lowest rates in the market, as low as 5.24%. Visit a Coosa Valley Credit Union branch near you.
Equal opportunity lender.
All right, live team coverage of traffic and weather, Veronica Harrell.
And right now, police are on the scene of a crash. Connector 7585 northbound at University Avenue, clearing it out of the roadway off to the right. Delays stretch back to around Langford 166. Construction will slow you down. It knocks out a left lane, 20 eastbound east of Panola Road, exit 71. And the injury crash on Georgia 400 southbound before 285 is gone. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Epworth. Partly cloudy today, high 92. An isolated pop-up shower can't be ruled out. Lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high 93. Watching for widespread heavy rain and thunderstorms to move in late in the afternoon into the evening hours. And on Saturday, another round of thunderstorms possible, high 90.
More news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
My fellow Americans, welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States, and I am delighted to be with you. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I am happy to have you. If you text the word Army to 33777, we are moving to a new activist portal for the show, so we'll make it easier for you to be able to contact your members of Congress, state legislatures, governors, and others as the need arises over the next year or so. We want you to not just be able to complain about stuff, but have the solution, and that solution is you being engaged in the process. So text the word Army to 33777. If you want to get involved, you'll be directed to the portal. You can put in your name. You need your name and your zip code. You can put in your mobile phone number if you want, but it's not necessary, but zip code is. Now, I want to talk to you in real terms here. I try not to sugarcoat it. And the reason I try not to sugarcoat the state of play is because a lot of people just, they want to be only affirm with what they hear. I had a friend of mine the other day tell me, I cannot believe you gave Donald Trump as much money as you gave him. And my response was twofold. One, I would prefer his policies to Kamala Harris's policies, and I'm happy to do what I can. And two, there are a whole lot of people who regularly call me and say, well, you're just never Trump. And I can point out to them I've given him way more money than they have. So which of us really is? Y'all know my views. It really is kind of funny to me, the number of people who they can't abide anything I say because I don't track with their own thinking, therefore I'm a bad guy. As opposed to, I've done this for a living, I've run campaigns, I know what I'm talking about. What I'm noticing, however, is there are a whole lot of people who they may not like Trump, but they do want him to win, and they're frustrated with him. I'm frustrated with his lack of messaging discipline, although I think he's turning the corner. But what I do think is that everyone is so focused on, for example, the polling shift towards Harris, that they're actually ignoring some of the behind-the-scenes data that's actually not bad for Trump. Like, for example, if the election were held today, despite Kamala Harris's surge in the polling, I do think Donald Trump would still win. If the election were held today, Trump would no longer win the popular vote. A month ago, he would have won the popular vote. Right now, he would win the Electoral College, I think. Because I do think that when you take the averages of the polls, Donald Trump is still well positioned. Remember, Donald Trump tends to be understated in the polling. So add 1 to 2% to Donald Trump's polls, wherever those polls are, and you've got a race that's Donald Trump's to lose. People forget that. It used to be in 2016, there was a massive split between the polling and Donald Trump's numbers. In 2020, there was still a pretty big shift. It just wasn't as big. And I do believe that even now, when you look at the polling around the country from the primaries and the like, that there's still probably a 2 percentage point miss. And the reason tends to be that Donald Trump supporters are less likely to talk to pollsters. They're more likely now than they used to be. They're more enthused. But there's still overall the hesitancy of Trump supporters to talk to pollsters is there. So you add a percentage point or two to wherever Donald Trump is, and if you do that, well, he's doing okay in these swing states. But there's other reasons for Trump supporters to be encouraged right now as well. Let me play you some lines from Trump's rally yesterday in Asheville, North Carolina.
Kamala Harris won't end the economic crisis. She will only make it worse. And why hasn't she done it? She talks about it. She's doing a plan. You know, she's going to announce it this week, maybe. She's waiting for me to announce it so she can copy it.
That's one Trump clip. There's one more.
Everything Kamala Harris touches turns bad. It all turns bad. San Francisco was a great city. Now it's unlivable. California was a great state. Now it's unlivable. She breaks everything just like she broke the border, broke our economy. But soon we are going to fix every single problem Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have created, and we are going to save our country. We are going to save America. We're going to save America.
That's Trump from his rally, and I played you that first clip, and let me play you this one more first.
No country can sustain what's happening right now. The millions of illegal aliens pouring into our country under a border czar Harris are coming from all sorts of places, from countries unknown, literally from countries unknown. And they, as I said, they're coming in from prisons and from mental institutions, and they're coming in as terrorists. We have more terrorists living in our country right now, and nothing good is going to happen from this. And now it's getting more and more violent. Just pick up the newspapers, turn on your television. People stabbed. A woman yesterday raped in New York, raped viciously. And when they said she was raped, you know what she said? They weren't trying to rape me. They were trying to kill me. They were trying to kill her. And he was a gentleman from a certain country I won't mention, happened to be in South America. But it's not South America. It's all over the world that they're coming in. It's not South America. They're coming from all over the world. Just this week in Coney Island, Kamala had two, think of this one, migrants. They came in, we call them the Kamala migrants, and they were arrested for rape of a 46-year-old woman, and it was a rough situation. There were 4 or 5 other situations over the last couple of days. Rape and murder, rape and beating, rape and something else, and sometimes just immediate killing. These people are brutal. These are people that came out of the toughest jails anywhere in the world from all over the world. And we can't take them. No country can sustain it. No country.
That's Donald Trump. Kamala migrants, listen, he's focused on the economy. He's focused on immigration. It's like someone's been listening to my show. Focus on the economy, focus on crime, focus on immigration. Inflation, immigration, however you want to package it, that's what he's doing, and he made a great, great point on stage.
Kamala has declared that tackling inflation will be a day one priority. Just think of it, for her, but day one for Kamala was 3.5 years ago. Why hasn't she done it?
Her day one was 3.5 years ago. He's finding his footing in the run-up to the Democratic convention. Again, this is important. You have to understand this. You got to be able to process this. You got to be able to calm down about this. Yes, Kamala Harris has the momentum right now. And yes, there are only a few more than 80 days left in this campaign, and the momentum is headed in her direction. And yes, the individual polls can all be wrong, but when you take the average, it tends to sort themselves out, and the polling trends are certainly in her direction, and every pollster tends to say left, right, and center, yep, don't look at the individual number, look at the trends. The trends are certainly in her favor. But when you look at the trends in Kamala Harris's favor, what you still see is that the issues are in Donald Trump's favor. Kamala Harris is having a bit of a bounce right now because she's an unknown, and the Democrats have come home, and that is the key point here. For everybody curled up in the fetal position, sucking their thumb, getting mad at me for telling you the truth, sending me angry emails, how dare you say this? You would be amazed at the number of people who send me hate mail because I've told them the truth, and it's just they can't handle the truth. But the truth is also this. While the momentum is in her direction and she's running a disciplined campaign, avoiding the spotlight as best she can, avoiding the press's questions as best she can, avoiding people hearing her speak, she's not going to be able to do that forever. And while the polling trends are in her direction because she's the new shiny thing, why are the polling trends headed in her direction? They're headed in her direction because it's Democrats coming home to her. A lot of Democrats who were sitting on the sidelines with Joe Biden have decided, you know what, I think I'll vote for Kamala Harris. And that's driving her numbers up. But on the issues, immigration still favors Donald Trump. The economy still favors Donald Trump. Crime still favors Donald Trump. It's not a coincidence the media is trying to rush out these headlines. Did you know crime is falling in the country? Well, it's falling in large part because states have stopped reporting the crime to the FBI. But immigration favors Donald Trump. Crime related to migrants is a growing concern in the population as we hear more stories about kids raped and killed by illegal immigrants. That issue favors Donald Trump. Your grocery prices and gas bill favor Donald Trump. Economically, it favors Donald Trump. So yes, right now, Kamala Harris, she's in this bounce. Now, it can last. The Trump campaign certainly has stuff they've got to do. It sounds like they're getting Donald Trump more focused. I don't know whether it'll last. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. We'll see. But right now, that message that he delivered in Asheville, North Carolina, you can tell it was a good message because the National Press Corps is refusing to cover it as best they can. Had he said a bunch of dumb things about Kamala Harris personally, they would be wall-to-wall news coverage of that. That he minimized those things suggests he's realizing he's got to focus on his message, on jobs, on the economy, on crime, on inflation, on immigration. He's got to focus, and that's what he did. It looks like he's making that pivot. You can tell he made that pivot because the media is covering it less and less. If he continues to do that, look, the media can try to avoid it as best they can, but here's your other sign of hope. Kamala Harris had been operating at a 10-to-1 spending advantage. Since Kamala Harris got into the race, Kamala Harris has spent $10 for every $1 from Donald Trump. And suddenly, this week, those numbers are starting to shift. The Trump campaign is starting to put in more money than the Harris campaign. The Trump campaign is now spending more money than Kamala Harris on the airwaves, including digital. In fact, I got an email this morning from someone who said, for the past 2 weeks, I've been so frustrated. I have YouTube TV, and every time I go on, I see ads for Kamala Harris, and I've seen no ads for Donald Trump. And suddenly, without warning, I'm seeing a lot of Trump ads, a lot of Trump Super PAC ads. Yes, it's taking them time. They're starting to fire up. They're all issues-based. We still got slightly over 80 days. Is it a tight race? Yes, we always knew it was going to be a tight race. But fundamentally, here's the thing. The Democrats have changed their candidate to a new and shiny object, an unknown where everyone can pour their hopes and dreams and ambitions into that unknown candidate and make of it what they want. And now that they have, the race is essentially the race we had in February and March, which is a race that still benefits Donald Trump. Because it is the Biden-Harris administration, not the Biden administration. And Kamala Harris did start day one 3.5 years ago, not in January of 2025. And that is a message that's going to sell to the American public. When Kamala Harris tries to stand up and say, on day one, I will do these things, the refrain from Donald Trump can be, why not now? Why not? You're going to do this by executive order? Why not now? And you'll notice the pivoting as well. 3 months ago, when I tried to tell my audience that it was not Barack Obama pulling the strings on Joe Biden, they're like, of course it is. Of course. How can you say that? We all know Barack Obama behind the scenes is pulling the strings. And now suddenly they're like, so it was Kamala Harris the whole time. Good. Sanity returns. It's never been Barack Obama. Whether it was Jill Biden or Kamala Harris, you can now blame Kamala Harris and say, look, we all know Joe Biden has been in decline these 3.5 years. Kamala Harris was participating in the cover-up. This has been her agenda the whole time. Do you think the American public is more likely to believe that Barack Obama was pulling the strings or Kamala Harris when she was there the whole time? It's a good way to talk about it. J.D. Vance has started talking about it. Y'all, the bottom line is this. This race still favors Donald Trump in the swing states. Is it moving away from him? Yes. Has it moved away from him yet? No. Does he have time to recover? Yes. Does he have some things he has to work on? Yes. Does it appear he's working on those things? Yes. Calm down. We still got a long way to go. And if the election were held today, Donald Trump would be president of the United States.
When the world seems crazy, he'll keep you sane. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
120 in the Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Well, the crash is cleared on the connector 7585 northbound up around University. Still a little bit of brake lights as you travel in both directions. And also, it looks like that construction may be clearing over on the East Freeway, I-20 eastbound at Panola Road from the left lane. This report brought to you by Audible. Make traffic work for you with Audible. Explore new worlds or get inspired listening to audiobooks, podcasts, and original. There's more to imagine when you listen. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
News.
The two-alarm blaze led to a collapse inside.
Weather.
3.5 inches of rain.
Traffic.
Cam shows only a left lane open.
And the top 3 things you need to know.
10-inch water main break along Walton Road.
Atlanta's morning news. Tomorrow starting at 5.
95.5 WSB. Atlanta's News and Talk.
The end of summer doesn't have to be the end of your fun. Your backyard can be your family's happy place all year long in a Bullfrog hot tub from Brown's Pools and Spas. Only Bullfrog offers the Jetpack therapy system, allowing you to customize each seat to fit every body in your family. Shop our huge Labor Day sale with instant rebates up to $2,500 and special financing for 60 months. Hurry, offer ends September 3rd. Brown's Pools and Spas, celebrating 50 years of Brown'sPools.com.
Hey, this is Shelley Winter for First National Roofing. Insurance companies are now using drones to spy on homes and deny coverage based on the aerial image of your roof. If you want peace of mind before your insurance policy is canceled, call First National Roofing for a free, no-obligation video inspection. Call 404-500-ROOF or firstnationalroofing.net.
First National Roofing. First in quality, first in honesty, first in warranty.
If you have COPD, here are some reasons to go see your pulmonologist again. 1, those flare-ups you keep having, they have the chance to cause permanent lung damage. 2, we now know a certain type of inflammation can cause flare-ups for some people. And 3,
when can I see Grandma?
Need more reasons? Visit www.livewithcopd.com.
death, taxes, and foundation repair to your home. 3 things guaranteed in life. Y'all, it's Eric for Engineered Solutions of Georgia. If you start seeing cracks in your wall, a major sign of home foundation issues, call 678-ESOG now. Get a free home inspection. They're the only company in Georgia with a team of licensed engineers on staff. 678-ESOG now. Get a free home inspection. 678-ESOG now.
Dial 678-ESOG now.
Are the effects of diabetes, prostate cancer, hypertension, or high cholesterol robbing you of your ability to perform in the bedroom? Choice Men's Health can help you eliminate ED and get your bedroom performance back in just one visit. Choice Men's Health offers breakthrough treatments for ED and performance issues in the bedroom to help you regain your confidence and give you back the intimacy with your partner. Call Choice Men's Health right now to make an appointment and find out how you can eliminate ED on the first visit. Popular name brand pills like Viagra and Cialis don't work for everyone and can have serious side effects. Choice Men's Health custom medications work immediately, even if you have a medical history or think you're too old to perform like you used to. Choice Men's Health can help you have a fulfilling sex life again. Call Choice Men's Health today at 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170. Once again, that's 404-400-1170.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or in stores at your local CVS. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com or in stores at your local CVS.
95.5 WSB, your 2024 election station.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Hello there, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number here is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, I am totally happy to have you on the program. And could I ask you to do me a favor as a listener, please? Would you text the word Army to 33777? Click the link and put in your information. Here's why. As we start doing the road show for the gathering, and we're going around the country, in addition to just being in the Army of Activists for members of Congress and stuff, we'll send you an email on occasion, and you don't have to call Congress if you want. But here's the thing. If you text Army to 33777, as we do the gathering around the country, and we want to be able to make sure you know about it, and so by putting yourself in the database, you'll be able to get the emails when we pull up, hey, we're going to do one in Florida. Let's get all the people from Florida in the database and make sure they know so they get first dibs on tickets. And we'll be able to do it that way as we spread around the country. So we've got people in all 50 states in the database. I would love to have you in there. All you have to do, real easy, is text the word Army to 33777. Fill out the form. You'll get a link back. Fill out the form, and you're going to make it real easy for us to be able to contact you and prepare you for as we take the gathering on the road next year, coming to your states. And where we have the biggest lists of people, of course, obviously, is where we're going to want to target as well. So you help us, and we help you. Text Army to 33777. Have you heard about this massive Social Security breach? Pretty much every American Social Security number has now been obtained. And it went through an organization called National Public Data. National Public Data has the Social Security database. It's a company where through which background checks are done. 2.9 billion people total. You're saying, but wait, Erickson, there are only, 350 million Americans? Yeah, but there are a lot of dead people whose Social Security numbers were obtained as well. And now there's a massive class action suit against the company. And you want to keep an eye out for that if someone uses your Social Security number. Just be advised, 2.9 billion Social Security numbers, a lot of dead people, and other legal immigrants and others have been affected. Now, Americans for Prosperity is going around the country. They are encouraging people to get involved in Americans for Prosperity. All you have to do is go to americansforprosperity.org. You can sign up with them. They're a do tank, not a think tank. They go into the states and they do the business of the conservative movement, educating Americans on issues, conservative issues, on school choice. They fight for school choice. They fight for Americans, small businesses. They fight for families. They fight for free market reforms. They fight to deregulate, and they want you in the fight. They want you to be able to go to your state legislature or local government and be able to advocate for those issues by being the smartest person in the room. They give you all the facts, all the data. They teach you how to be a great activist. They want you on their side. They've got chapters in almost every state. AmericansForProsperity.org. Go sign up with them today. AmericansForProsperity.org. A great institution. AmericansForProsperity.org.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Nelson Exteriors. 5 people now charged in connection with Friends star Matthew Perry's death, including the actor's assistant and 2 doctors. U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada just now announcing the charges.
This network included a live-in assistant, various go-betweens, 2 medical doctors, and a major source of drug supply known as, quote, the ketamine queen.
He says the 2 doctors supplied Perry with a large amount of ketamine and even wondered in text messages how much the former Friends star would be willing to pay. Take a listen.
Defendant Placentia saw this as an opportunity to profit off of Mr. Perry. He wrote in a text message in September 2023, quote, I wonder how much this moron will pay.
An assistant found Perry face down in his hot tub on October 28th. He had died. Partly cloudy, afternoon highs around 92. We do have a chance of some pop-up showers and storms, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. A massive Ponzi scheme being run through an Alpharetta-based business. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission saying Todd Burkhalter and his company, Drive Planning, tricked more than 2,000 people into giving the company $300 million.
What's really sad in terms of the impact, not just the people losing money in general, but I've spoken to victims about they invested their IRA money, and there's something like $65 million in retirement money.
Attorney Jeff Saun is representing investors in the case and says they come from 48 different states. Burkhalter allegedly used the funds to supply his lavish lifestyle. All American Social Security information could be compromised. Reports say that hackers stole data from National Public Data, tried to sell it online, but then posted it online for free. The group claims to have nearly 3 billion records of personal data from North America and the UK. Experts say the best course of action is to freeze your credit to prevent others from signing up for credit cards or other accounts in your name. It's 1:32.
You've probably heard that constipation and IBS can all be related to a lack of fiber in your diet. Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. If you or someone you know suffers from constipation or IBS, let the Bread Beckers show you the way to more fiber and regularity and to better health without swallowing a pill or a bad-tasting drink. At the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber from real whole grains. A healthy, affordable, and delicious solution for your family that can change your life. This is not like the enriched bread you buy at the grocery store. It's real bread. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. So if you're struggling with bowel issues, high cholesterol, warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first steps to a healthier life. Visit onlyrealbread.com. The Bread Beckers, onlyrealbread.com.
All my life I wore contacts with no problems, and a few years ago my reading gave out and I started having to wear reading glasses. After a while I got frustrated and I went to see Dr. Ashraf regarding my options. Instead of LASIK, I opted for laser optics procedure. Believe me, this is amazing. Most of my day I do not use any glasses, even for reading. As an added bonus, my insurance covered most of the cost.
Hi, this is Dr. Ashraf of the Atlanta Vision Institute. I'm proud to be one of the first physicians to offer the laser optics procedure. This procedure uses LASIK technology to improve your distance vision, but also helps to restore your reading vision. As a matter of fact, most of my patients are able to read a menu or see their phones without the need for reading glasses. So if you can relate to Bill's frustrations, come see me and see if you're a candidate for the laser optics procedure.
If you would like to learn more about the procedure and find out if you're covered by insurance, visit Atlanta2020.com. That's Atlanta2020.com.
So you're staying in your home longer than you thought. Let Nelson Exteriors bring the beauty back with an exterior makeover. Hi, I'm Scott Nelson, owner of Nelson Exteriors. We can take care of your entire home improvement wish list. Windows, siding, painting, roofing, decks, doors, and gutters. We're a James Hardie Elite Preferred Siding contractor and carry multiple energy-efficient window brands to fit your budget and style. Choose Nelson Exteriors for an extraordinary renovation. Google Nelson Exteriors.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather, Veronica Harrell.
And right now, watching delays over in Marietta, but better news. Two separate crashes have just cleared. One was at 75 northbound at the North 120 loop, exit 265. It is gone from the left lane. And another crash, 75 northbound, just before Highway 5, exit 267, is now off to the right. Delays remain, though, through Marietta. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly cloudy today, high 92. An isolated pop-up storm can't be ruled out through the afternoon.
More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Fearless and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the fruited plain. The phone number is 877-973-7425. A follow-up to something I mentioned yesterday. You know, I am not a fan of walking into grocery stores in the middle of August and seeing Halloween candy. And a proprietor of a grocery store emailed me and said that it's the leftover from last year. They've held it back. They got to get rid of it before the new stuff comes in. So why don't you delay getting the new stuff and put this out after Labor Day? I'm sorry. I just don't have sympathy for we're going to start putting the Halloween candy on the shelves in July and August. We'll do the Valentine's candy on the shelves before Christmas. It's just, there's an exception here. My wife had to explain this one to me. My wife had to explain that in craft shops, like, for example, Hobby Lobby, that you actually have to have the Christmas stuff up in August and September, as it is now. And why? Because you have the craft ladies who make wreaths and style Christmas trees and stuff like that, and they got to get all their stuff now to be able to do it for Christmas and put up displays of what it'll look like. Okay, that makes a ton of sense to me. But for a regular old run-of-the-mill grocery store and Walmart, having the Halloween candy up after the 4th of July and into August, having the Christmas stuff up before Halloween and the Thanksgiving stuff up at Labor Day, nope, I'm sorry. Absolutely not worth it. I'm sorry. No. Now, what is this here? What is this from Charlie? Sorry. People are apparently mad at me and taking it out on my call screener. Oh, well, sorry. That's the joys of being my call screener. Now, I want to talk about something else. I want to go back to this Javier Milei situation in Argentina. It does not get a lot of press attention in this country because obviously it's Argentina. It is on the far side of the world, and we're not used to thinking it as the far side of the world because we tend to have an east-west mind when we think about far side of the world, but it is the southern hemisphere. It is a long flight even from me here in Atlanta. Delta flies to Argentina, and it's quicker to get to London, I think, than it is to get to Buenos Aires by flight. But it's also a success story. So for those of you who don't know, Argentina for decades has just been filled with government greed and corruption and left-wing policies. And inflation in that country skyrocketed. You think our inflation is bad, like prices up 30%? There it's like 3,000%. I mean, they were having to like cut numbers off their currency. It was absurd. Inflation was just out of control. People couldn't keep jobs. International investment was fleeing. The cost of living was out of control. And it was all government policies pumping money into an economy that did not need money in the economy. And yet they kept doing it and they wrecked the economy. The socialists wrecked the economy. What the socialists were doing is very much what Democrats and Republicans in this country do. And note I said Republicans too. They bribe people. Joe Biden right now, he's engaged in a Medicare bribe. So Joe Biden and the Democrats used Medicare money to pay for their Green New Deal. And they're now having to use deficit spending to prop up Medicare, and having cut the Medicare Plus program so many times, they're having to dump money into Medicare recipients and essentially bribe them for November, and that's driving up the national debt. It's what the Argentinian socialists did, dumping a bunch of money into the economy to bribe voters. And the voters in Argentina finally had enough. Desperate times, they took desperate measures. And the voters in Argentina voted for Javier Milei, a libertarian economist who's kind of a weird dude, not just in appearance, kind of a weird dude. But they were desperate. The people were desperate. And what Milei said is, we know what works. Free market economics work. The free market works. Argentina doesn't have a free market. As we begin to revive the free market and take the draconian measures to get government out of the way, the country will recover. And it'll take 6 months to a year. And Milei got into office and he started cutting government. And at first, prices kept going up. And Milei said, we got to do more. And the Congress in Argentina was not sympathetic to him. And he did what he did through executive action, but he needed Congress, or the Argentinian Congress involved. And he finally went to him and was able to strike a deal. He made some compromises, but they began to pass legislation as well to begin to curtail the size and scope of the Argentinian government. And what Milei argued is something you can all understand. The economy is a fixed number. It's like a pie. Now, you can grow the pie. You can make a bigger pie, so more people get pie. But if you think of it as a pre-baked pie, the more the government takes the pie, the less there is for everyone else. And so everyone else is raising their prices in order to earn a living because there's less and less pie for them to be able to eat. So everyone else is having to drive up the cost of each slice of pie in order to make a living. And Milei argued, if you take the government out and reduce the amount of the economic pie going to the government, it frees up more slices for the free market, for private sector, and so the price per slice can come down because the government's out. You reduce government, you grow the private sector. He argued that point and he won the point. And what's happening in Argentina? Inflation has crawled to a halt. It's not that prices have dropped. There hasn't been deflation. It's that they've stopped going up so much. As I mentioned, he gutted price regulations and price controls on housing. There was a massive housing shortage in Argentina. He gut the price, the regulatory laws on housing. Not only is there now more housing in Argentina, it's cheaper. Why? Because landlords were not putting all of their available property on the market because of the draconian government regulations. They couldn't charge what they wanted. And if someone got into a piece of property, as many of us learned during COVID, if you were a landlord, when people got into the property, the government would say, well, you can't evict them. Even if they don't pay rent anymore, you can't evict them. You can't drive up their costs, and you can't evict them. So you're essentially stuck with a bunch of squatters. So he got the Congress to get rid of all those laws. And you know what's actually happened? The amount of available housing for people to rent has gone up because landlords are like, oh, now I can rent a place and know that if someone decides not to pay the rent, I can evict them. So now there's more housing available for rent. Not only that, because there's so much more housing available, the prices of the rental have gone down. That's free market economics. Works every time. It's working. Like, this is a real world experiment in free market economics, and it's not perfect. Argentina has a ways to go. And he's actually got, to their credit, the Argentinian public has had his back. He's still got over 50% support. Even as he doesn't control much of the legislature, he's by executive order done a lot, and the Argentinian people have realized he actually is making things better. We're not worried about the cost of eggs and milk anymore. We're not worried about the cost of beef, which is a big thing in Argentina. Not worried about housing costs anymore. And government has reduced. Now, let's talk about this country. Because one of the things that both left and right are now arguing over is federal regulation. Conservatives argue that we need to gut the Code of Federal Regulations. So for those of you who aren't lawyers, let me explain this to you. There's something called the USCA. That's the United States Code Annotated, or you'll see it referred to sometimes as USC. It's not University of South Carolina or University of Southern California. It's the United States Code. The United States Code is the book of laws. I think there are 50 titles, and it takes up 2 shelves in a library. But on top of that, so much of the federal code gives the regulatory agencies of the United States the power to draft regulations. And while the U.S. Code may take up 2 good-sized shelves on a library, the Code of Federal Regulations takes up the entire bookshelf. It's massive. And it governs everything. There are regulations related to the tire pressure gauges that have to be in cars, and the cameras, and the airbags, and the pressurization of airbags. There are titles in the code that relate to the volume of gas that flows through your gas stove. They're trying to restrict that in the Biden administration. The code governs how you twist a light bulb in and how you take a light bulb out. The Code of Federal Regulations governs everything. And what Milei has argued successfully in Argentina, and what we used to argue in this country, is that the more regulations you have, the more the government takes a share of the pie and reduces the share of pie for everyone else, which drives up everyone's cost. The more regulations you have, the harder it is for a small business to grow. Most Americans work for small businesses, not big businesses, and the Code of Federal Regulations strangles them and forces people to have to go work for big business. You want to gut it, you free up the free market. Now, we used to understand this in this country on the right. In the next hour, I want to talk about millennials and, like, for example, J.D. Vance talking about the cheap toasters and the need for unions and things like that. What you need to understand right now, what the takeaway is, the old Milton Friedman, the old Hayek arguments about the free market, they're playing out right now in Argentina. And they're playing out exactly as any supporter of the free market would say they would play out. You get the government out of people's lives, the private sector grows. The private sector grows, incomes go up. The private sector grows and incomes go up, inflation subsides, and people's lives and quality of life improve. The more government controls your life, the worse your life is. This isn't something new. This isn't some untested theory. It's tried and true, and yet time and time again, people on the left and the right in this country all forget it. In this country now, you've got people on the right who are in favor of more government regulation. They want to pick their winners and losers because they believe the left picks winners and losers, and so we should pick our sides. The problem is what happens is when both sides get in office, they start flip-flopping back and forth, which adds uncertainty into an election and makes elections more meaningful. You know, we're all at each other's throats right now over this election. Like, people are calling Light and Charlie up because the Trump supporters think I'm being too critical of him. The people who hate Trump think I'm being too nice to him. It's hard to be in the middle lane here and try to explain to you objectively what's happening. Everybody wants you to be a cheerleader, one side or the other. The reason you want that is because our elections matter so much, because the government has grown so much and has taken over too much of our lives. If conservatives can take back office and instead of saying we're going to use government to our ends, say we're going to kill government. We're going to do what Milei did. We're going to gut it. We're going to shrink it. We're going to make it less consequential to our daily lives. Elections will matter less. It was a point Donald Trump made at a rally several weeks ago that, of course, the left blew up as, he was trying to say he's going to be a totalitarian. No, what he was saying is that you'll never have to worry about voting again because he'll deregulate and get the government out of your lives and take care of you so much that it won't be an existential threat every time you go vote. That's actually what we need. He's actually right on that point. We need to not be an existential terror in every election. It's not healthy for our democracy. And Trump said it, and what did the media do? They mischaracterized it to try to scare you about Trump. Because the media loves regulation, because the media loves big government, because the media loves Democrats. But if you look to Argentina right now, there's a success story happening down there. And all that success story should tell us is that we already know how to fix what's going on in this country. The tried and the true free market approach works every time. You know, the free market, it incentivizes great companies like Vision Computers, where across the nation, if you're in a business, Vision sees the need to fill a void. So if you're in California, for example, the regulatory costs in California are tremendous. You may not have the ability to have an in-house IT guy. Or let's say you're in Connecticut. Connecticut's pretty blue state. A lot of regulations on businesses drives up your costs. The more those regulations drive up your costs, the less likely you are to be able to hire people, and you need somebody to help your business keep the computers on. That's where Vision Computers comes in. You call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com. You sign up with them, and they become your support solution. So your employees get a special phone number they call 15 seconds or less. They get the answer to their question for their computer. Vision Computers can even remote in and fix computers and do email support and printer support. So you don't have to have the in-house IT guy. You can't afford because of all the regulations. So you just have Vision Computers, and they work. Your employees are productive with their job, and Vision's productive with their computers. All you do is call them at 404-COMPUTE, anywhere nationwide, 404-COMPUTE, or visioncomputers.com. It's just $179 a year per computer, $179 a year. And if you call them and tell them I sent you, you get a better deal. Visioncomputers.com or 404-COMPUTE. Let them be your tech support solution so your employees can be great at their jobs and not have to be great at their computers as well.
You can follow Eric around on social media at EW Erickson on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And check him out at EWErickson.com.
151 in the Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory right now. You got construction 85 southbound over at Highway 34. That's exit 47 over in the two right lanes, but then also a crash is off to the right. So you're looking at delays through Noonan. Use Highway 29. This report brought to you by John Foy and Associates Personal Injury Law Firm. Making the right call after an injury accident can be the difference between winning or losing everything you deserve. Attorney John Foy won't stop fighting until you get the most money possible. Attorney John Foy, now that's the strong arm. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
When traffic hits,
we're looking at trouble on the ramp to 85 north from the inner
loop. The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
Extreme delays on I-20 East.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
Use the Peach Pass Express lanes or Highway 41 as an alternative.
Brought to you by the Coolray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
For nearly 50 years, Shane Company has been Atlanta's most trusted family jeweler. We'll help you create your dream engagement ring. Shane Company has the biggest selection of diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and center stones in an array of colors, including sapphires in blue, pink, green, lavender, and more. Just the other day, a couple created a truly unique ring by choosing a blue sapphire that matched her eyes. Atlanta, Come check us out. You just might fall in love with something unexpected. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. Over the past 30 years, we've seen countless lives change for the better and health issues greatly improved, if not completely resolved, by customers changing their diets, starting with real bread. At the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber and nutrients from real whole grains. A healthy, affordable solution for your family that can change your lives. For various customers, we've seen cholesterol levels drop 85 to 100 points in just 1 month, blood sugar stabilized, anemia corrected, and hundreds of stories of warts going away. In one case, as many as 500 warts gone in just 2.5 weeks. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. Let us help you take the first steps to better health. Visit onlyrealbread.com. The Bread Beckers, onlyrealbread.com.
Are you a builder in need of permit documents today? Sketchhouse Architects is approaching architecture in a way never seen before with next-day architectural services. Our fees are incredibly low and our quality is very high. Sketchhouse is a full-service architectural firm with multiple licensed architects on staff that will fast-track your project from cocktail napkin sketch all the way through permitting without slowing you down. Don't get caught with a stop work order. Call Sketchhouse Architects and let's get started. Visit sketchhouse.com. That's sketch, H-A-U-S, sketchhouse.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, could be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Go to carsforkids.org today.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
It's Eric for Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Why do I love them? They're the only team that does foundation repairs with licensed engineers on staff. Everybody else, they got business licenses. They could be a dog groomer. They could open a burger joint. Engineering licenses, only Engineered Solutions of Georgia has them. If you see foundation cracks, you see cracks in your wall, give them a call. 678-ESOG now. 678-ESOG now for a free home inspection.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Get the podcast, live stream, email, and social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
Welcome back. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here. I got to respond to an emailer, and let me put this. Read you an email I've gotten. This is from William James Brown. You and all the talking heads on radio, as well as Republican pundits on TV, cannot stay on message and back our candidate, Donald Trump. You all have to get your pound-of-flesh opinion jab in to disagree on a near-constant basis. Meanwhile, Democrats stay on message, on code, despite differences they have with their candidate because they look at the big picture. We lose momentum and excitement because our so-called leaders have to open their mouths in some negative way, and then CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC all run with the comment and project it out as news that creates doubt for the undecided voter to go with the Democrat because at least they look unified. You damn fools cannot seem to figure out, SEAM, to figure out the obvious and keep your mouth shut if it's negative. You, Nikki Haley, and the gang are so incredibly dumb and unsophisticated politically that you give the media all the tape they need to criticize Trump with the cover of, it's not us saying this, it's your own side. You despicable idiot. Well, William, you must have confused me for a prostitute who would look you in the eye and tell you you're a handsome gentleman when you're not. I am not a whore. My job is to tell my audience the truth. It's not to be a propaganda useful idiot for any one side. If you wish to go find some prostitute to tell you what you want, I'm sure you can find them on Craigslist, William, and they'll tell you exactly what you want to hear. But you're not going to get lies from me, William, which is what you want me to do. You want me to keep my mouth shut when I disagree. I'm not going to do that, William, because I believe my audience is owed the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as best I can tell the truth. And that means giving you the good and giving you the bad and letting you navigate it for yourself. You wish to have propagandists. I'm not a propagandist. I'm not a prostitute, William. You can go pay someone for that. Instead, for free, I'm willing to give you the truth, and you apparently can't handle it. Now, I got to tell you the truth is that at Omaha Steaks, you get great steak. OmahaSteaks.com. At checkout, you put in Eric as your discount code, you get an extra $30 off. ERICK. You go to OmahaSteaks.com right now, 50% off site-wide. It is their anniversary sale. They are officially 107 years old. It is great to do business with companies that have lasted that long, American companies. The American dream, Omaha Steaks, is founded by people fleeing religious persecution in Eastern Europe. They made it to Nebraska. They set up shop. They've been going strong for 107 years now. OmahaSteaks.com. 50% off site-wide right now. You get unbelievable value in their steaks, their seafood, great supply chain for their seafood as well. And then at checkout, you put in Eric, E-R-I-C-K, you get an extra $30 off, minimum order required. It is a great value, and you get a 100% satisfaction guarantee. So if you are unsatisfied for any reason, they will make you happy. All you have to do is go to omahasteaks.com, put in the discount code at checkout, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, for an extra $30 off. omahasteaks.com.
All my life I wore contacts with no problems, and a few years ago my reading gave out and I started having to wear reading glasses. After a while I got frustrated and I went to see Dr. Ashraf regarding my options. Instead of LASIK, I opted for laser optics procedure. Believe me, this is amazing. Most of my day I do not use any glasses, even for reading. As an added bonus, my insurance covered most of the cost.
Hi, this is Dr. Ashraf of the Atlanta Vision Institute. I'm proud to be one of the first physicians to offer the laser optics procedure. This procedure uses LASIK technology to improve your distance vision, but also helps to restore your reading vision. As a matter of fact, most of my patients are able to read a menu or see their phones without the need for reading glasses. So if you can relate to Bill's frustrations, come see me and see if you're a candidate for the laser optics procedure.
If you would like to learn more about the procedure and find out if you're covered by insurance, visit Atlanta2020.com. That's Atlanta2020.com.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. If you want to challenge a voter's eligibility in Cobb County, you're going to have to pay for it. Here's a report all new at 2 o'clock.
The new rule would require the person filing the challenge to pay for the postage for the card that is sent to an individual when their status is being questioned. Election Board Attorney Daniel White tells me.
I'm not charging for all the costs of voter challenges, but really just charging for the service costs.
Cobb GOP Chair Sally Grubbs disagrees with the policy.
That is going to make Cobb tax-paying citizens pay for that out of their pocket when we already pay taxes for that purpose.
New laws passed by the legislature last year allow for people to file unlimited voter challenges up to 45 days before an election. In Cobb County, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
87 degrees in Atlanta when widespread heavy rain is possible in Atlanta. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Shocking new details today in the death of actor Matthew Perry. U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada announces today federal charges are filed against 5 people.
This network included a live-in assistant, various go-betweens, 2 medical doctors, and a major source of drug supply known as, quote, the ketamine queen.
Estrada says they took advantage of Perry's addiction to ketamine.
In the end, these defendants were more interested in profiting off Mr. Perry than caring for his well-being.
The Friends star died from an accidental ketamine overdose last fall. His death is being called a criminal conspiracy. The owner of an Alpharetta investment company is accused of stealing more than $300 million from thousands of customers in a Ponzi scheme. Federal investigators say Todd Burkhalter used the money to afford an extravagant lifestyle, which included a multi-million-dollar yacht and a North Georgia ranch. A smash-and-grab crew may be targeting metro area CVS stores. Police are looking for the thieves who drove a vehicle into a pharmacy on Lawrenceville Highway in DeKalb County early this morning. They apparently did not get away with the ATM inside. 2 other CVS pharmacies were targeted recently in Cobb County and southwest Atlanta. Vice presidential candidates Tim Walz and J.D. Vance agreed to at least one debate. The Minnesota governor and Ohio senator will face off on CBS October 1st. Vance says he also has agreed to a debate hosted by CNN on September 18th, but so far there's no response from the Harris-Walz campaign about that September debate. It is now 2:02, and this news is sponsored by Charter Communications.
Scott Slade here to talk to you about your health. As we age, your health should be your top priority. Just like when we get our car checked out regularly, it's crucial to understand what's going on under your hood. My partners at Virtual Imaging offer safe, low-dose annual CT scanning memberships. Scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease and cancer tumors. They now also offer brain scans that can detect aneurysms and dementia. All these potential issues, the sooner you detect and then treat, the better the outcome. Your life could be saved. But even better, like most people, you could walk out with a clean bill of health and peace of mind. I got a great offer for you. If you call today, you and your spouse will receive a free heart scan. Yes, free, with a few minimum requirements. Just meet with them and learn about their membership options and start your ongoing health check-ins with Virtual Imaging. Call now, 678-369-0202. That's 678-369-0202. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Hey, y'all, it's Eric. Are you in the market for a 2024 Sierra Light Duty pickup? Well, there are lots of them at Jim Hardman Buick GMC, the oldest Buick GMC dealership in Georgia, family-owned for over 40 years. Right now, you can save up to $11,000 on their new 2024 GMC Sierra Light Duty Crew Cab pickups using trade assistance. And they got all the packages, 5.3 V8, SLT, Denali, Elevation, a great selection. They've got over 350 new vehicles available and arriving daily. You don't have to worry about stock. They've got it at Jim Hardman Buick GMC up in Gainesville on Browns Bridge Road. Go to hardmancars.com to check them out. And I got to tell you, as a customer of Jim Hardman Buick GMC, their service department, hands down the best. You're going to feel comfortable. It's why they've been around for over 40 years. Repeat family customers because they treat you like family. Jim Hardman, Buick GMC in Gainesville, hardmancars.com.
When it rains here in Atlanta, yeah, it pours. And poor drainage could be the reason for large cracks in your driveway or patio. Meteorologist Christina Edwards here. My friends at American Crawl Space Solutions can help lift and level the concrete slabs on your property. They will eliminate the tripping hazards and provide a level surface for you and your family. And their work is guaranteed. So visit AmericanCrawlSpaceSolutions.com to schedule your free in-home consultation.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
It is 2:05 and time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather in the 24-hour traffic center. Here is Veronica Harrell.
And saying good afternoon to you, Bill. Over in the Cobb County area, folks are still running into delays with that crash off to the right now, 75 northbound over at Highway 5, exit 267. Maybe something new, though. 75 southbound just below that South 120 loop, keeping you on the brakes. Downtown filled in nice and slow, 75, 85 north and south. And now checking on a slow zone on the East Freeway. I-20 westbound just past Panola Road, exit 71. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly cloudy today, high 92. An isolated pop-up shower can't be ruled out. Lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high 93. Watching for widespread heavy rain and thunderstorms to move in late in the afternoon into the evening hours. And on Saturday, another round of thunderstorms possible, high 90.
Right now, it's 88 in Roswell, 84 in Lawrenceville, and 87 in Morrow. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is radio. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBradio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is radio. Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Hello, America. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I am happy to have you. As always, if you text ARMY to 33777, you can go to a forum, put in your contact info, and as we're doing the gathering around the country, we will make sure we let you know. And also, if there's ever an action alert, you're signing up to, if you want to be an activist, we'll send you an email and say, hey, here's this thing before Congress or a state legislature. You can reach out and tell your state legislator or member of Congress yes or no on this item. Make you an effective activist just by listening to the show. Let's talk about millennials, shall we, and Gen Z. You know, the media talking point now is to still be obsessed with millennials, and really it's starting to be Gen Z coming into their own. But younger millennials and Gen Z, I want to make a point for you. If you were born, say, in 1985 or later, particularly 1990 or later, you're Phillips age, or you're in your 20s, you're starting out. With few exceptions, you are the generation that has never really experienced the full promise of the American dream. Now, the United States continues to be the best country on earth, and I know there are people who say, oh yeah, America's the best, but they say it because they're American. And they're like, well, I mean, the Chinese say they're the best. The people in Russia say Russia's the best. The people in Inner Mongolia say Inner Mongolia's the best. No, I have lived and traveled around the world. There is no country on planet Earth where people are willing to die to get here to have the American dream. So one of my bones to pick with J.D. Vance, who I kind of understood what he mean in his convention speech, he's talking about America's not an idea. It's blood and soil and it's territory, it's land. People are dying for where they live. They're not dying for a story. That's true, but it's also not true. The Democrats are making the case that America is an idea, not a blood and soil territory. It's actually both. People are willing to die for the American story. People are willing to die for their homeland. It's more complicated than what either of them want to say, but at the same time, a lot of people want to come here because they don't want our social services. They don't want our taxpayer dollars. They want what they have heard is something called the American dream. We're in this country. You can be arrested by the police in Louisville, Kentucky, and go on to win the Olympic gold medal in golf like Scottie Scheffler. In this country, you can be the daughter of immigrants from India and Jamaica and go on to be Vice President of the United States. In this country, your mom can be an immigrant from Ireland, and you can be President of the United States. That's the American dream. And people are willing to walk across desert and through jungle and swim across large bodies of water to get here for that. And progressives in this country have screwed it up because there used to be a long-settled, agreed-upon idea between the left and the right in this country that when you got here, you assimilated into this country, you learned the language, and you became an American. And your old ways and your old culture assimilated into this country, and so our cuisine was improved. Let me just talk about one of my advertisers real quick here. Don't want to put them on the spot, but you'll know I advertise for Omaha Steaks. That company, the family that owns Omaha Steaks, in the early 1900s, they're a Jewish family. They were fleeing religious persecution in Eastern Europe, Latvia specifically. They sailed to the United States and got off the ship in New York at Ellis Island. And then the family, unhappy in New York, in 1917, got on a train and decided they would get off when the land looked like Latvia. They got off in Omaha, Nebraska, been there ever since. Their company's been running strong now since 1917, over 100 years old. That's the American dream. Here's a problem. If you were born in the late 80s, you heard of the glory days of America. You were born in the great stage of Ronald Reagan, the collapse of the Soviet Union, and the unquestioned rivalry of America on the world stage. But you came of age after 9/11 and the shattering of the American dream, that we were bordered by two oceans, a continent to ourselves almost, with Canada as our hat and Mexico as our footstool, and no one could mess with us. And then two planes flew into buildings and brought them crashing down. And another flew into the Pentagon and one into a field. And suddenly, for the first time, we here at home were vulnerable, and it shook up the American psyche as much as that bullet through Donald Trump's ear probably shook him up, and for which he's probably still feeling the effects. And as a result of that, younger millennials and Gen Z, they're starting to make questionable decisions in large part because they have concluded that the American dream doesn't work for them. It's one reason there's so much hostility in certain age groups, particularly younger white guys who are opposed to immigration, not just illegal, but legal immigration as well, because they think, why are we bringing all these people here? I haven't had my share of the American dream, and we're bringing other people here to try to have it. You may disagree with them, but you should at least try to understand it, that they were promised an American dream. The promise of every American has always been that the children will have it better than the parents. And that's actually less and less the case these days. It's still true for a good segment of society, but it also is more true for people on the higher income scale than the lower income scale. And what is that? It's because as government has become more complex, this is not talked about, but this is the God's honest truth. As government becomes more complex, it becomes a subsidy for the wealthy. The wealthy can hire the lawyers and CPAs to navigate them through the complexity to make them money. The working class cannot, and it festers working class resentment. It festers the resentment of the lower income and the middle class. And they begin to make questionable decisions. Exhibit A. Younger Americans are more likely to turn to sports betting than stock investing as a way to make money. It's a report in Bloomberg. Every single one of you knows the lottery is a tax on the poor. The poor are hoping to spend $1 or $2 on a scratch-off and make some money. The more money you have, the less likely you are to play the lottery. Full disclosure, I bought a lottery ticket because the Mega Millions got over $300 million, and I figured, might as well spend a couple bucks. Generally, the lottery is a tax on the poor. When you go to the grocery store, the constituency you see, or the gas station in particular, the constituency you see buying the scratch-offs tends not to be upper income. They're hoping for a quick buck because they've given up on a system whereby they can, over a long time, make a lot of money. They're looking for the quick buck. And as younger Americans give up on the American dream, they're beginning to do the same thing with sports betting. And all of the institutions of American cultural society at this moment are working to induce them to do it. You cannot watch a sports event on television these days, particularly ESPN, without getting the odds on the game. I don't know if this is the case right now. I'm going to try this live with you. I noticed it this morning. Google has a website, trends.google.com. Yep. This isn't always the case, but yet one of the top trends, Mauricio Pochettino, on whether or not he's going to take the U.S. men's national team job. Let's see. What's another one here? Yep, Vikings receiver Jordan Addison carted off the field. Michael Judon, Patriots trading Matt Judon to Falcons following prolonged stalemate. Buffalo Bills starting linebacker Matt Milano out indefinitely with torn left bicep. What's my point here? Look at Google Trends right now. Most of the top trends are on football players because guys are putting their fantasy football teams together right now, but also they're beginning to place their sports bets. People are going on jumping, looking to see if they can make some money off of sports. And you get on ESPN, they're going to give you the odds. You get on most of the news broadcasts now that cover sports, they're going to give you the odds. You look on local websites. You follow your social media influencers. A lot of them are going to do sports betting. You will not hear sports betting out of my mouth. I want you to be clear here. I'm not opposed to it. I've got plenty of friends who do sports betting, oftentimes on my front porch over bourbon and cigars on a Sunday night. But I'm not going to promote it because I see where this is headed with younger men in particular who've given up on the American dream, and they're decided in the spirit of the American dream and American entrepreneurship, they're going to go make their own way in the world, and they're going to learn sports, and they're going to bet on sports, and that's going to be their ticket to fortune because they've given up on the rest of the world. And that's actually a pretty damning indictment on where we are as a country. And again, it's because we become such a complex country with complex systems. The longer and more complex those systems become, the greater a subsidy is on the people who already have wealth. I have a money manager and I have a CPA who's a strategic CPA who reviews what I'm spending every month and tells me, do this, you can get tax write-offs. Do this, you'll increase your deduction. Do this. Y'all don't have that. I didn't have that until this year. Couldn't have afforded it if I wanted to. I've been blessed in the last year with ad revenue. I can do this now. And it's eye-opening to me how a good CPA and a money guy can find you a path through the regulatory burdens of the tax code and the Code of Federal Regulations that the middle class can't afford. Our government laments, particularly the Democrats, the income gap between the wealthy and the poor. They're the ones who've caused it. It's that wealth gap is not because of tax cuts for the wealthy. It's because the complexity of the federal government due to regulations by bureaucrats and Congress has acted as a subsidy for the wealthy, so only the wealthy can get rich. And so where are the poor and middle class headed? Sports betting apps, lottery tickets. They've given up on the behaviors of a society of putting money aside in a mutual fund that has a regular, reliable rate of growth compounded by dividends and growing over time because they're trying to get rich quick. Because they feel it. They're falling behind. They know it. And this is something I think Republicans should be focused on. And it frames, I think, J.D. Vance, why J.D. Vance is embracing in his economic policies a lot of things that used to be Democratic talking points, a lot of things that used to be unionization, for example, some government regulations, for example, workers' rights and labor law that benefits workers. Supposedly, they typically don't. But he's advocating old school labor politics. Why? Because we had those old school labor politics when people felt like government was falling behind. And he, as a product of the born in the mid-'80s, lived the end of American empire, so to speak, but came of age at a time where the nation was at war, our psyche shattered, and more people his age and younger thinking they were never going to seize hold of the American dream. I am begging some Republican politician, please, Donald Trump, someone, take up their cause. That the American dream has to be for them as well. That all of us need to have better days ahead of us than behind us. That's always been the spirit of this country. That our kids would always have a better country than we have. And more kids are believing that's not the case. And in the process are turning to riskier and riskier behaviors to try to get ahead. And that's going to perpetuate the destabilization of our society. I can see it coming clearly, and every single one of you know exactly what I'm talking about. But we don't have anybody in Washington, D.C. accurately assessing this problem. If anything, the Democrats want to make the problem worse with even more regulation, and the Republicans have no idea how to navigate through this. Somebody's got to figure it out quick.
He'll do the research and give it to you straight. Erick Erickson is live every weekday.
221 in the Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Police are responding to a crash over on I-20 westbound approaching Wesley Chapel Road, exit 68. At least one lane blocked, causing delays for you. This report brought to you by Affordable Dentures and Implants. Get your smile back. Affordable Dentures and Implants in the Atlanta area. Make new smiles affordable every day. Call 1-800-DENTURE for the location near you. Affordable Dentures and Implants. Go ahead and smile. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is radio. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBradio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is radio. Join me live at 3 for the Von Haessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Is your house too small? With a significant increase in home values and interest rates through the roof, many homeowners are realizing it's cheaper to add space to their existing home instead of buying. Many houses are selling for nearly $400 a square foot. It is much cheaper to build exactly what you want rather than having to buy a new house, pack up, and move. Hi, I'm Richard Taylor, Chief Architect with Sketchhouse. We are redefining the home improvement process by providing simple packages that don't cost a lot and get you in front of a builder faster. Why should you call an architect first? Builders love drawings. Your project will get bumped to the top of their list and therefore likely completed faster. You'll be able to get an estimate of what your project will cost without being limited by contractor schedules or materials. Plus, Sketchhouse offers a simple flat fee pricing model that can save you thousands by avoiding the typical markup for architectural drawings. Bring your home renovation dreams to life with Sketchhouse. Visit sketchhouse.com. That's sketch, HAUS.com, sketchhouse.com, and let's get started.
Did you know that even a 0.5% difference on your auto loan rate could equal thousands of dollars in savings? Get pre-approved on your next auto loan or refinance your current auto loan at Coosa Valley Credit Union today. You'll get one of the lowest rates in the market, as low as 5.24%. This is Andy Harris. Come see us at a Coosa Valley Credit Union branch near you. We're local and nearby in Northwest Georgia. Plus, you'll always speak to a real person when dealing with us. So come see us.
Equal Opportunity Lender.
Would you let a person with a doctorate in sociology operate on your liver? Of course you wouldn't. It's Eric here for ESOG. Be wary of foundation repair companies that tell you they're licensed, because only Engineered Solutions of Georgia has a team of licensed engineers on staff. The other guys, they got business licenses, not engineering licenses. Quality matters. If you see cracks in your wall, call 678-ESOG now. Receive a free home inspection. 678-ESOG now.
Dial 678-ESOG now.
Men, if you're suffering from ED or PE, Priority Men's Medical Center will get your sex life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your sex life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To regain your sex life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Dave Baker, host of the Home Fix-It Show, here for Air Quality Systems. I talk on the show a lot about the benefits of having your ductwork cleaned, the health benefits, and how it helps keep your home cleaner. But you need to be careful who you choose to clean your ducts. I received an email from a listener who told me she was quoted $499 for a duct cleaning, but by the time the work was completed, she was charged over $1,400 with add-ons. That's just wrong. At Air Quality Systems, you get upfront pricing. The price you're quoted over the phone is the price you pay. Their cleaning teams aren't salespeople. They don't get paid on a commission. They're certified air duct cleaning technicians who will clean your ducts and be held to the same standards as they are for all their clients. So don't let some random carpet cleaning company clean your air ducts. Use Air Quality Systems. All they do is clean air ducts. Simply go to airqualitysystems.com and set an appointment. That's airqualitysystems.com.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Join Eric's army of activists. Text ARMY to 33777 now.
Hello there, welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number 877-973-7425. Let me get to Jason's phone call here. Jason, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Eric. Glad to be on the show. Appreciate you. I had a quick question for you. With your theory on the Iranians and there being sympathizers in the Biden administration, how come there hasn't been a special investigation or a prosecutor by the Justice Department brought to investigate collusion between the Biden administration and Iran to hack Trump?
There should
and
be.
Get dirt on Trump.
Now, well, let me be clear here on that particular one. There's no evidence at all, not even a speculation from the Trump campaign that the Biden team colluded with Iran to do this. It's just clearly Iran has a dog in this fight. Iran wants Kamala Harris. Even the Trump campaign is not saying that that Biden and Kamala Harris worked with the Iranians. This is different from the Hillary Clinton allegations that somehow Donald Trump was actually colluding with the Russians to steal the election. The Trump campaign is not saying that about the Biden-Harris team. And even if they did, there's no way on God's good earth that Merrick Garland would pick a special counsel to investigate, because despite the media trying to tell you that Merrick Garland is some sort of upstanding guy, he's a political hack of the first order who will do everything he can to protect Kamala Harris to stop Donald Trump. So that's not going to happen before the election for sure. That being said, there should be an investigation, a deep investigation to Iran, and rumors are there actually is one in Washington, D.C. that extends beyond the FBI into the national security apparatus of the country. I would be very curious to see where that is headed. Several different people who were named in those Semaphore reports are suddenly out of work and not leaving the country and not talking to the press, which is a big red flag that something's up. We'll see where that develops. Right now, I got to tell you about Swiss America, because between banks collapsing and regulators regulating and interest rates going up and maybe coming down, we don't know. Well, Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years, and they've been warning people about a secret war on cash. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from the secret war, you need their report about the secret war on cash. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. They can educate you on protecting your assets in their report. You can get it. It takes about 15 minutes to read. It's highly educational and informative. It also includes digital forms of currency. The report is completely free. All you do is call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. You just mentioned my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646. You can also go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, SwissAmerica.com/ERICK, or just go to call or text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. Let Swiss America inform you about the secret war on cash. Message and data rates may apply.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story. Authorities in Los Angeles are calling the death of actor Matthew Perry a criminal conspiracy. U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada announces federal charges against 5 people in connection with Perry's death by providing him with ketamine.
They knew what they were doing was wrong. They knew what they were doing was risking great danger to Mr. Perry, but they did it anyway.
Estrada says the defendants, including 2 doctors, were more concerned about making money. One of the defendants is known as the Ketamine Queen. The Cobb Election Board approves new rules requiring you to pay for a voter eligibility challenge. Cobb GOP Chair Sally Grubbs disagrees with the policy.
That is going to make Cobb tax-paying citizens pay for that out of their pocket when we already pay taxes for that purpose.
The new rule would require the person filing the challenge to pay for the postage for the card that's sent to an individual when their status is questioned. New laws passed by the legislature last year allow people to file unlimited voter challenges up to 45 days before an election. A former City of Atlanta employee convicted of federal bribery charges will not get a new trial. Mitzi Bickers requested her request is denied by a federal appeals court. Bickers was found guilty of accepting bribes in exchange for steering nearly $20 million in city contracts to local businessmen. The Atlanta Police Department joins a growing list in the metro area with a Community Assistance Responders Care Unit. New care officer Shalia Sutton says everyone is welcoming her and she is happy to do her part.
Helping out the city of Atlanta, whether I'm an officer or a community assistance responder, I love the dynamics of the job.
The first care class graduated this week and are helping APD officers respond to non-emergency calls like fender benders, break-ins, or vandalism. It is 2:32.
Belinda Skelton here with another powerful testimonial from a patient who visited virtual imaging and had a life-saving experience. Mike, I want to hear your story.
I did a head scan, and I was diagnosed with a 7-millimeter brain aneurysm, which means I'm at high risk for a stroke. I'm physically fit. I get a physical every year. This experience taught me that regardless of your fitness level, we're all vulnerable to heart disease, cancer, and stroke. It also taught me a first-hand lesson about the benefits of early detection, because without virtual imaging, I wouldn't have known about my brain aneurysm until the day I had a stroke.
Virtual imaging has a CT scan to screen your heart, lungs, and can detect early-stage cancer, and now they have brain scans. Call today and receive a free heart scan for you and your plus one. Yes, free with minimum requirements. Call 678-369-0202 or visit virtualimagingatl.com.
The end of summer doesn't have to be the end of your fun. Your backyard can be your family's happy place all year long in a Bullfrog hot tub from Brown's Pools and Spas. Only Bullfrog offers the Jetpack therapy system, allowing you to customize each seat to fit every body in your family. Shop our huge Labor Day sale with instant rebates up to $2,500 and special financing for 60 months. Hurry, offer ends September 3rd. Brown's Pools and Spas, celebrating 50 years of BrownsPools.com.
Did you know that eating healthier and more delicious food is not only good for you, but affordable as well? Hi, it's Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. At the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real, delicious bread loaded with fiber and nutrients from real whole grains. A healthy, delicious, and affordable solution for your family. Eating real bread will satisfy your hunger and greatly reduce the amount of food you need to eat. Plus, your improved health from eating real bread may even reduce the need for frequent doctor visits. That's what Real Bread did for our family. 2 doctor visits with 9 kids in 25 years. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of whole grains and real bread. So if you're struggling with bowel issues, high cholesterol, weight gain, warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, take the first steps to a healthier, more affordable life. Visit onlyrealbread.com. The Bread Beckers, onlyrealbread.com.
At 2:34, Veronica Harrell in the traffic center.
And talking about delays on the East Freeway, crash I-20 westbound before Wesley Chapel Road, exit 68, knocks out the left lane, causing a slow ride for you. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly cloudy today, high 92. An isolated pop-up storm can't be ruled out through the afternoon.
87 in Stone Mountain, 85 in Villa Rica, and 87 in Woodstock. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
Greetings and welcome. It's Erick Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. John, I'm glad you called on this. I would have forgot to talk about it. Welcome to the show, John. How are you?
I'm good, Eric. Thank you. I go by John the Jarhead.
Excellent.
Watched a pretty sad video today. It's the 7th anniversary of us leaving Afghanistan. So they decided to have a parade, and their centerpiece for their parade was all of our military equipment. Mm-hmm. And they actually had our helicopters flying overhead. And I know an Apache's not an easy helicopter to fly. So they've apparently been training, and that was a huge error in judgment that our administration made.
Yeah, and look, I honestly think this is another. It's ripe for an ad campaign by some super PAC out there to have paraded our military equipment that they still possess and haven't sent to Hamas. Now, John, I got to ask you, being a jarhead, so your views on the Navy, are they just the Marine Corps' Uber, or are they their own branch of the service?
Well, they take us wherever we want to go. So I have no complaints against the Navy. My son-in-law is in the Navy. My best friend was in the Navy. So I love all branches of service.
Good.
If anybody's willing to serve this country, God bless them.
Yeah, amen to that. Listen, and thank you for your service. I'm glad you called about that because I totally would have forgotten the story today. I had it in the stack of stuff. There's just been so much other stuff going on. If you haven't seen this video, the Taliban did a military parade in Kabul, and they paraded down the street all of the surplus American helicopters and Humvees and armored personnel carriers that we left behind. They had the Apaches flying overhead. They had the Jeeps and Humvees on the ground. It was disgusting. And it comes courtesy of the Biden-Harris administration that left all this stuff behind. And remember, Kamala Harris said she was the last one in the room with Joe Biden before he made the decision to pull out. Now, while that's happening, there's also Tim Walz. You will notice in the rundown of the show, I started with Kamala Harris. I'll end with Walz. Why? Because she's who the Republicans are running against, not Tim Walz. And there's so much more being dropped on him than her. I fear we can get distracted. But here are today's headlines about Tim Walz. From ABC News, Tim Walz mischaracterized his military service. From CNN, Tim Walz lied about his drunk driving arrest. From the Washington Post, Tim Walz lied about J.D. Vance's record on pro-worker legislation. From Fox News, Tim Walz praised anti-Semitic Muslim cleric on video. Now, I want to focus for a moment on the ABC News story. This is sourced via Alex Thompson at Axios, crediting it to Will Steeken and Olivia Rubin at ABC News. Steeken and Rubin at ABC News report that in 2016, Thomas Behrens, who took over Walz's battalion after Walz retired from military service in 2005, penned a private letter to Walz imploring him to stop using the title Command Sergeant Major. Quote, "It saddens me that after your long career in the National Guard, that you did not fulfill the conditions of your promotion to Command Sergeant Major. It's quite a title to have when it has been earned. I would hope that you haven't been using the rank for political gain, but that it is how it appears." The headline for the story at ABC News is Tim Walz previously faced criticism over the way he characterized his military service. The problem with Tim Walz and Kamala Harris is that they are opportunists. They are embellishers who will say or do whatever they need to do to get ahead. And Tim Walz served honorably for 24 years. No one can take that from him. Tim Walz served honorably for 24 years. The problem, however, is that when Tim Walz left the military, he lied about his position. He claimed to be a command sergeant major, which he was going to be promoted to as he took his troops to Iraq. But when he found out that more likely than not he was going to go to Iraq, he decided to retire and run for political office. And when running for political office, claimed a position he did not have. Other people had to go to Iraq because Tim Walz decided he'd rather run for office. There's no denying he served 24 years honorably. It's the way he ended it that's the problem. And along the way, the media is trying to make Tim Walz a folksy Midwestern politician. That's the word they use, folksy, by the way. Well coordinated. Everybody was like, remember back in the day, for those of you around, when George W. Bush picked Dick Cheney, gravitas was the word everyone in the media used. Now, why? Because they had a briefing with someone somewhere tied to George Bush who used the word gravitas, and so every member of the media used the word gravitas. Now, undoubtedly, when the Harris campaign was explaining why they picked Walz, someone used the word folksy, and so now everybody in the media is using the word folksy. That's the way it works. Always has, always will. It's an echo chamber. Problem is that Tim Walz on the campaign trail continues to generate applause with a particular line, mind your own damn business. That's what Walz says regularly on the campaign trail. It is his line that in Minnesota, that's the golden rule in Minnesota. It's not love your neighbor as yourself. No, it's mind your own business. The problem is, of course, that that's not the way Tim Walz operated when he was governor in Minnesota. He actually operated a surveillance state where he would encourage people to turn in their neighbors, snitch on their neighbors for things that he thought were bad for COVID. So here he is in a speech.
In Minnesota, we respect our neighbors and we respect their personal choices. Now look, it's not difficult. I might not agree with my neighbor's choices or make the same one. But this country's great because we have a golden rule that makes things work. We mind our own damn business on those things. We mind our own damn business.
Now, I would note, actually, as an evangelical Christian, it offends me that he would co-opt the golden rule to say it's mind your own damn business, because that's actually not it. That's actually the opposite of the golden rule when you tie it into the story of the Good Samaritan, where the golden rule, according to Jesus Christ, is to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And it actually does offend me that he would call mind your own damn business the golden rule, because the whole story of the Good Samaritan was of this Good Samaritan who did not mind his own damn business, but saw his neighbor in the ditch beat up and decided to help him. He did to his neighbor as he would hope the neighbor would do for him. That's my personal view here. The problem is Tim Walz is also a hypocrite on this, because Tim Walz, here, you got to hear this again. You got to hear the beginning of this again.
In Minnesota, we respect our neighbors and we respect their personal choices.
That's what he says. We respect our neighbors and personal choices, except Tim Walz. You're going to hear him on a phone call briefing where Tim Walz set up a snitch line, where when a neighbor made a choice the other neighbor disagreed with, the neighbor could call the government and have the police show up at that person's house. And how does Walz characterize it? It's for their own good.
Paul Gazelka wants you to take the hotline down for people to report violations of the stay-home order. Do we need a hotline? Is it being used?
It is being used, and we simply want people to be able to call and let folks know, and it's for their own good. We have numbers. If somebody sees a fire at a neighbor's house, they want to tell them. If we see people that may not be as informed on this, it's an educational piece. So we're certainly going to do that, and we're not going to take down a telephone number that allows people just to try and keep their neighbors safe.
See, they're trying to keep the neighbors safe. Don't you love how he spins it in that regard? It was a snitch line, where if your neighbor was out walking the dog without a mask on, the neighbor could call the line and have the police show up and tell them to put their mask on. Walz also believes that if you don't support your child's gender transition, the state should be able to take your child away from you to help your child. It's your child, not the state's child, but Tim Walz believes that he knows better. That's not minding your own damn business. That's the state interfering in both cases. He wants to have it both ways. It's a folksy charm thing that he does, and of course the media applauds it. Oh, they want to leave us alone. What it's getting at is the undertone of abortion here, that it's your body, your choice. Except the problem is every other time he wants the state to interfere. It's your child. It's now the government's choice. It's your body, your choice, except when it comes to COVID. It's your body, your choice, except when it comes to anything else he wants the government to interfere with. On top of that, Tim Walz lied about his military record. This is who the Democrats have chosen. Now, what's notable is yesterday I said we do have to be careful. We don't want to think so much that we're winning this fight on him, when we see it all on Twitter, it's buzzing on Twitter, and because it's buzzing on Twitter, it must be penetrating the cultural conversations, the zeitgeist, if you will. But the fact that ABC and Fox News and the Washington Post and CNN are all running stories today about his lies and his false characterizations of his record means that the social media conversations are beginning to trickle out there. You got to be very, very careful to make sure that what we're seeing online, particularly on Twitter, is actually happening in the real world. The fact that we're starting to see these headlines is a pretty big indication that, yes, in fact, this is headed in the right direction, that Walz is beginning to be negatively defined. There's a problem, though. And this, again, is the big problem. The big problem is that Kamala Harris is the nominee, not Tim Walz. The Democrats poured a lot of energy into J.D. Vance. They poured a lot of energy into J.D. Vance in large part because their calculation was people already didn't like Trump, so now let's make people not like his VP, and so people won't be able to rationalize, well, I'll vote for Trump because I like his VP. And some of you will say, well, maybe that's what the Republicans are doing. How do you know? No, I don't think that's actually what the Republicans are doing. I think the Republicans are out there still trying to find things to pin on Kamala Harris in her own right, and so they're focused on Tim Walz while they're trying to find stuff to focus on Harris. With Harris, I think Donald Trump has finally hit on the line, and it's the line that I think is going to keep resonating.
Kamala has declared that tackling inflation will be a day one priority. Think of it, for her, but day one for Kamala was 3.5 years ago. Why hasn't she done it?
There you go, right there. He needs to bring that up all the time. Every time she's going to say something on day one, I'll do this, because she's going to be day one this, day one that. That was 3.5 years ago. Why didn't you do it? You begin to define her by the failures of the Biden administration. Peter Doocy, I don't have the clip pulled up for you, but Peter Doocy asked Joe Biden what he thinks about Kamala beginning to distance herself from him, and he went absolutely postal on Peter Doocy and said, no, she is not. They've been very successful, and she will stand by the record of the Biden-Harris administration. So this is going to be a very fun fight to shape up if it heads in that direction. It's going to be a very intriguing fight to watch. So we got Tim Walz reminding people he's a nanny stater who lied about his military record, and now reminding people that Kamala Harris has been there for 3.5 years. She could have done things sooner. She doesn't have to wait until January of next year. Together, I think Republicans have an argument to stop the forward momentum of her polling and turn it back around. The question will be what they do next week during the Democratic National Convention, but I suspect they're hatching a plan right now. I would like to turn your attention to the Eden Pure Thunderstorm because it's a great air purifier, which I have used often in rental cars and in hotel rooms and in my own car and my own house. It wipes out odors. It's not just an air purifier in that it gets rid of dust and pollen. It actually eliminates odors, generates ozone that binds to the ions of odors, whatever the odor is, and wipes them out. You can't hide from ozone if you're an odor. So if you're a dirty diaper odor, or you're a litter box odor, you're a wet dog odor, you're a frying shrimp in the kitchen and your wife hates the smell, Erickson odor, or someone smoked in a rental car, you can plug it in with a USB cord into like an outlet. I've plugged it into my laptop. You can also plug it directly into the wall, and it packs a wall up. It wipes out odors. It's small enough you can hold it in the palm of your hand. You go to EdenPureDeals.com and use the discount code ERICK3, ERICK3. You'll get 3 of them for less than $200. You'll save $200, and you'll be eliminating the odors in your house. So you get 3 of them, upstairs, downstairs, your basement, your RV, your travel bag, wherever you need them. I've walked into hotel rooms where they've been fired up by the hotel staff because there was a fireplace that would otherwise have smelled in the hotel room. Wiped out the odors, never smelled the fireplace. It worked great. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERICK3, ERICK3.
You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show, the perfect blend of news, analysis, opinion, and cooking. Hang on, is that right? Yeah, cooking.
At 2:50 in the Coolray Carrier 24-hour traffic center, something new brewing on the north side outer loop. It's a crash. 4 or 5 vehicles. Hero police with it. 285 west, Riverside Drive, exit 24, left lane blocked, and you're slow back before 400. I-20 westbound to DeKalb County. It's a left lane crash, and Wesley Chapel has about a 4-mile delay coming out of Lithonia there. And we also see the backups forming up downtown of the connector, 7585 south, before 17th Street, rolling down toward the I-20 area. Doug Turnbull, 95.5 WSB.
It's 3 o'clock. Want another Zoom call?
I know for a fact.
Or Eric Von Hessler.
This is what's going on.
Now you can start listening to the Von Hessler Doctrine at work.
Board eligible to become a certified pundit.
And continue on your drive home.
But not quite a certified pundit yet.
EVH, today.
Now starting at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
If you have COPD, here are some reasons to go see your pulmonologist again. 1. Those flare-ups you keep having, they have the chance to cause permanent lung damage. 2. We now know a certain type of inflammation can cause flare-ups for some people. And 3.
When can I see Grandma?
Need more reasons? Visit www.livewithcopd.com.
Hey, y'all, it's Eric. And yeah, I got to admit, I'm worried about the November election for a lot of reasons. I mean, you really can't make most of the stuff up, but here we are. The only thing I do feel great about is my investment strategy. And even with all the uncertainty ahead, thanks to David Nicholas and the team at Nicholas Wealth Management, Christy and I have a rock-solid plan for whoever wins the election. It doesn't matter for our finances, thanks to David. Look, I really urge you to do what we did. Get a complimentary Morningstar analysis from David and his team. It's a $1,000 value, but right now my listeners can get this complimentary. So you've saved $250,000 or more for retirement. Call Nicholas Wealth Management and get this unbelievably valuable analysis for free. David and his team will do for y'all what they did for Christy and me. They'll review it with you. They'll give you some total clarity on how ready your nest egg is for the uncertainty ahead. So if you've saved $250,000 or more for retirement, go to nicholaswealth.com. That's NICHOLASWEALTH.com, nicholaswealth.com, or call 678-990-8500. That's 678-990-8500 or nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for information purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives with a financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is Medi-Share. Maybe you've heard switching to Medi-Share to pay for health care can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for Medi-Share is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. Medi-Share works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. 877-26-BIBLE.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Get the podcast, live stream, email, and social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
Well, isn't it hilarious that suddenly the media wants to talk about this story?
Like, how do you think does this play? What does Harris do about this? Anything?
I mean,
it's not Kamala Harris's son, and so there's a little bit more distance than when it was the presidential nominee's son. This isn't great. Hunter Biden, everybody in the White House has known for a long time is an issue. The way that that his lawyers responded to this disclosure, to say like, well, yeah, he sent letters but did nothing wrong. It doesn't. This feels very strange to people that the vice president's son was sending letters or making requests to other government officials and saying, hey, would you meet with this company? It may have been legal. We don't know anything otherwise at this point. Like Matt said, we haven't seen the contents of the letter. It does look like he was at least making people say, you notice my last name though, right?
Yeah.
So now a press that has largely tried to avoid the Hunter Biden story, now that Joe's not running, it's fair game. He was even asked about this at the White House. Karine Jean-Pierre was.
The New York Times is reporting that Hunter Biden sought help from a U.S. ambassador on behalf of Burisma while he was on the company's board and while Biden was vice president. So what's Biden's reaction to this, and is he concerned about what this looks like to the American public?
So I'll just report what I've said before, is that the president has never done business with his son, and he was not aware of this. And for anything further, I would have to refer you to Hunter Biden's personal representatives. I can't speak beyond that. But again, I've said this before, the president was not in business with his son, and this is the first time, he was not aware of this. And for anything further, you would have to reach out to Biden, Hunter Biden.
So now that Joe Biden is not a candidate for president of the United States, it suddenly becomes fair game for members of the media outside of Peter Doocy at Fox News to start raising questions about the propriety of Hunter Biden dropping his family name with officials inside the government to get help with his clients. To my knowledge, and I think this is one of the latest accusations from prosecutors, didn't disclose himself as a agent of a foreign government when he did so. That would have been problematic, and the media has been completely incurious. Now, to be fair, because members of the media will insist, Erickson, you must say this. This is new allegation. It is a new allegation that has come forward from prosecutors. However, it's related to all the other stuff the media hasn't wanted to talk about either. And probably had members of the media done some digging, they could have uncovered this before it was spoon-fed to them by a prosecutor, but they wanted to show no intellectual curiosity at all about the situation because they wanted to protect their precious Joe Biden until suddenly he became expendable. And now they're protecting Kamala Harris in the way they used to protect Joe Biden. Still remarkable to me. For those of you still in despair, just remember it was 6 months ago. The media was telling Joe Biden, please get rid of Kamala Harris. She's terrible. She hasn't changed in 6 months. Just give this time to play out. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
I saw a report recently that parents in Gen X, the oldest Gen Xers are 59 this year, are very heavily subsidizing the lives of their adult children. I know your heart makes you want to do this, but if you have not been able to save for your own retirement and you're spending money on your adult children and you're in your 50s, are your adult children that you're giving money to now, are they going to be able to financially support you later in your life, in your 70s, 80s, whatever? The answer is almost certainly no. So as much as you want to help out your adult children, if you have not been able to fund your own retirement, put money aside for your own life, you just can't afford to help out your adult children. I'm Clark Howard.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB. Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 3 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. Challenging a voter's eligibility in Cobb County is going to cost you. Some are upset with a new policy approved by Cobb's election board.
Cobb GOP Chair Sally Grubb says when a citizen files a challenge, it's a serious matter.
These are things that need to be investigated.
And a 4-1 vote, the board